Blockbuster trade before this year's NFL draft. The Bears are leaning toward trading the number one overall pick, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Chicago has been approached by multiple teams in a year where anywhere from 8 to 12 franchises could be looking to make a switch at QB. Last month, GM Ryan Poles reaffirmed his commitment to quarterback Justin Fields. Trading Fields was never really in the cards for Chicago, believes our Keyshawn Johnson.
Chicago needs people around him. They need to build just like the Eagles did for Jalen Hurts. He's a little bit bigger than Jalen Hurts, but same sort of skill set, same sort of locker room leadership. All of those sort of things is watching this and paying attention to it. There was no way in the world that they was getting ready to move on from Justin Fields.
Key of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Bucks co-owner Mark Lassery reaching an agreement to sell his portion of the franchise to Browns owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam, according to ESPN's Tim Bontemps. The $3.5 billion valuation, the second highest valuation ever for an NBA team.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time your car breaks down, don't call it quits. Head to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is the Sportsocracy, and we are heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can join us in the chat. And it is a Monday. And how was your weekend?
Oh, I went to Joe Lasher Jr.'s single release on Friday.
Nice. How was that?
It was phenomenal. Twisted Laurel.
Is it
always.
a banger?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a Creed banger?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's that good. All right.
I mean, and that's high praise from me. That's as good as music has ever been. So, Twisted Laurel, always great with the hospitality. Got to hang out with Football Farley a little bit, me, HWA, listening to all the things. It was good.
Yeah.
And then I didn't leave my house again until I came to work this morning.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah,
I actually forgot where I parked my car.
I spent most of my weekend at home just hanging out, watching sports. College basketball was a whole lot of fun on Saturday. It was a pretty good NASCAR race yesterday. All the fun was had. And
NASCAR could have raced on the moon yesterday. I would have absolutely no idea.
And I watched 6 whole seconds of the XFL. That's all I could take.
I saw enough to make fun of it coming up in about 25 minutes. I also saw something else that merits being made fun of. There's probably no better place to kick off the opening drive.
The opening drive always brought to you by Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. Go to 629 Brevard Road. Check out their showroom. You're in the market for a brand new or a certified pre-owned vehicle. Just go to Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. They will hook you up. Mention the Sportsocracy, and they give you a $250 bonus on top of your trade-in.
I am in a brand new 2023 Platinum Nissan Rogue, and I just discovered it has a full moonroof.
Oh.
I didn't know that, but when I got in the car this morning, I didn't really want to come to work. So I started playing a fun game of, hey, what's that button do? Next thing I knew, I was staring at the sky.
Nice.
With a beautiful panoramic view in my 2023 Platinum Nissan Rogue.
Say, did you never notice the little hole in the ceiling before?
Well, there's a cover over it. So I had to pull the cover back. I mean, when you're in a car, typically you're looking forward. When you're having a little grab tush time, and you don't want to drive to work, start looking around. What does that do?
I wonder what that big giant hole in the ceiling is.
There's a big hole up there. I bet there's a mirror, or I bet there's a window that I could look out of. And there was. Never know what the surprises you're going to get with a brand new car from Fred Anderson Nissan
of Asheville. All right, so
we've got breaking news.
Let's.
I'm even going to let you hit the button.
Yes.
In spite of the fact this came out this morning.
Who's gonna break the news?
Ha!
Who's gonna break the news?
Oh, yeah.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
The Chicago Bears have been approached by multiple teams about trading the number 1 pick in this year's NFL draft. Awesome. First of all, multiple is a fun way of saying 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me just tell you what people around this here National Football League tell me. A, Chicago won't move past 4. So that means there's only 3 contenders. It's Houston, Arizona, Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona's obviously not moving. Houston's not moving. Houston will call their bluff. Straight up, will size them up and down and call their bluff. A, you're not going to get much. I mean, the move down to 2 would only yield you maybe a second-round pick. Maybe.
Okay.
So you have 1 suitor because the 3rd was Tennessee. A, you're not moving that far. B, they're not going to pay what it would cost to get up there. Neither are the Atlanta Falcons, and neither are the Carolina Panthers. So today, what I have been inundated with, I told you, you're stupid. We're never moving off Justin Fields. Let me make this clear as I can. You tried real hard, and nobody bit.
So they floated Justin Fields out there, and nobody wanted him.
And nobody bit.
Nobody was like,
From
hey,
what
yeah,
I was
we'll
told,
give you a first-round pick.
There was not a team in the NFL that offered more than a 3rd-round pick for Justin Fields.
Wow.
And if they had, he would be somewhere else right now.
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, I'm not really shocked by that.
You shouldn't be.
But I mean, it puts Chicago in a hell of a spot.
This is one of those times of, okay, why did this get put out at 7:25 this morning? I was getting ready for work, and here comes this gigantic social media outlay of the Bears and so many teams interested in number 1. Are they? Are they really? Because here's what doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And this is where the whole fans, do you ever see those mock drafts that people put up online? Like, oh, look, I used the PFF mock draft simulator, and we got Will Anderson and Jalen Carter and Will McDonald, and we got all of them. They just fell to me in the 3rd round. It's the stupidest thing people do, all right? You want to see somebody do a mock draft that can actually work? Go to our YouTube. I pour over them. Tank can vouch for this.
Mm-hmm.
I pour over them. And there's a reason for that. Because common sense is not that common. And so for the last, I'll say since the season ended, since the regular season ended, I have been inundated by Chicago Bear fans going, why would we give up on Justin Fields for a 5'10", 185-pound quarterback? And yet nobody ever wants to go past that comma of, okay, so you're denigrating the quarterback that you won't take because you have a mediocre thrower of the ball. Why would anybody trade up to get that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're running all of these quarterbacks, just cold water on them being a franchise quarterback. And yet you think teams are going to come up and give you 3 1s. How stupid could you possibly be?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to get past the first comma. Well, he's not good enough for us because we got a legendary quarterback. Oh, yeah? Would you like to take a guess how many quarterbacks in the NFL were lower rated than Justin Fields this year? One of them, Zach Wilson. There's only 2 more.
Yikes.
Yeah. That's the stalwart leader of the franchise that never considered moving on.
But he could do so many amazing things. He can run the football.
Yeah, the Chicago Bears know exactly what this kid is.
Mm-hmm.
They know. They also know they're in a bad spot because they are currently living the absolute worst nightmare you can have as a franchise. Your fan base is delusional about a player that you don't believe in. Previous regime traded 2 first-round picks to go get him.
Mm-hmm.
Not you. Ryan Poles knows what Justin Fields is. That's why he's been working the phones for 6 weeks trying to find anybody to overpay for Justin Fields. Nobody will do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because the exact same quarterback you have right now, Justin Fields, and I'm telling you, I told you I didn't leave my house. Guess what I did?
What'd you do?
Played a fun game of top 13s, which we will be putting out over the next 2 weeks here on the old YouTuber. And I watched a lot of film from a player that's in this draft class, and it started to look super familiar. And that player's name is Anthony Richardson. They are the same guy. Big-bodied, good runner, horrible decision-making. Gigantic arm that you only see sometimes. Pitifully inaccurate. Who am I describing?
Justin Fields.
Anthony Richardson.
Oh.
Anthony Richardson.
So they're the same guy. Okay. All right.
So if I want that guy, I can get that guy. Because getting to 7 or getting to 6 with the Detroit Lions, that's not hard to do. If I want a project quarterback that I'm going to have to teach how to be an NFL quarterback, I can go get one of those guys on a rookie deal for 4 years. I don't have to play your stupid little game. I do not have to play your game with a guy that I have to pay in 2 years. And I'll be honest with you, you'll never get anybody in Chicago to admit this. They absolutely know the corner that they're backed into. They haven't had a quarterback in 30 years. They had a couple years of Jay Cutler. That was fun. Well, we played Rex Grossman for a minute. And so your fan base is so absolutely just obsessed with we must find somebody that can give us some hope that you're seeing it where it's not. This is like the bad marriage that you're really trying to make work because the kids are still in the house. You got a nice house. And you don't want to lose half of your stuff. Well, the problem is, how does that typically end?
You know, it eventually
The
ends.
kids move away, and somebody winds up with a mullet and a sports car.
Right.
That's exactly where Chicago's headed. That's exactly where they're headed. Because there was one decision that made sense here. This is not a great draft. I've said that time and time again. It's very deep, whatever. If you want to move off one, I can't tell you you're wrong. I love Bryce Young. I think he's a generational talent. Every evaluator I talk to in the NFL, Bryce Young is one. We'll talk from there. Now, the commonality there is I talk to a lot of teams that, well, they're not after a quarterback. So it's real easy for them to just say, yeah, Bryce Young's my guy, because I don't have to draft a 5'10 quarterback. The problem that I'm seeing, that I'm actively seeing right now, is that Chicago is catering to its fan base. Because that's why you put out, we're going to trade for one. If you don't believe me, go to our YouTube, go to our Facebook, go to any social media that has my name on it and see how many times bear down gets put, and then read the comment directly before it. They're so obsessed. And the media is so obsessed that Justin Fields is the guy. Let me make this perfectly clear to you. He's not. But he could be Jalen Hurts. You don't have the ability to put that roster around him. You don't have Howie Roseman. You don't have that ownership group. You don't have that culture. You don't have that coaching staff. Sorry about your luck. And if you think, first of all, Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Justin Fields is. I said that when he came out, and I didn't like Jalen Hurts. I even said he's a better quarterback prospect because what he does, he is better at. Justin Fields doesn't do anything well. He runs real, real fast. So do 10,000 other people that never play one snap in the NFL. If that's your claim to fame, you're doomed. Straight up. And you can look at every quarterback that has been. Name me every quarterback you can think of that their number one perk was, well, look how fast they are. Michael Vick. How many playoff games did he win?
None?
Lamar Jackson.
He never won one?
I think he won. Or no, he didn't.
Really?
Never won a playoff game. Might have been one. There was 1 year they made the playoffs. I don't think they won. Lamar Jackson. One playoff win. Jalen Hurts. The best thing he does is not run. It was. It was the best thing he did. Now it's an element of it. And it's nice that he can throw you a different look, and it makes the defense do things. The best thing he does is find A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or whatever the case may be and sit behind the best offensive line in the NFL, let them protect him, and let him pick apart defenses. That's what he does. And his third read is always, I can take off and run right at your linebacker, and I'm probably about his size. And he does that with Vic won 2 playoff games.
Okay.
In 17 years. Minus 2 that he was otherwise detained.
Indeed.
You always have to throw that in. I mean, you got a dog on your shirt.
We know.
It was impossible for
we know. We know.
If you want to build your team this way, that's fine. It's the dumb way. It's the dumb way.
The problem that they have is Well, now they're stuck.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Philadelphia. That's where he won a playoff game. I remembered that he was there. I forgot they went to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. You're stuck now, though. So if you've already floated out that Justin Fields, you wanted to trade him, and teams said, no, we'll only give you a third-round pick, well, now you're screwed. Now you're getting it.
But you're making a very basic mistake. And teams do this all the time. After the break, I'll give you a couple examples, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and it's ESPN Asheville.
Make sure you're at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, March the 2nd through the 6th for the 2023 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. Experience fun for the whole family as your favorite teams compete for the championship and a berth to the NCAA tournament. Get your discounted tickets to the 2023 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships today at your local neighborhood Ingles Market. For more information, visit SoConHoops.com. That's SoConHoops.com.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
The hugs, the joy, even the sleepless nights. Whatever you get from parenthood, you always want to give your children everything. And the UNest app makes it easy to save for their future. The UNest app puts smart investing tools right in the palm of your hand. Plus, you'll grow your UNest account with every purchase you make from over 150 top brands like Disney Plus and DoorDash. Start building your child's financial future. Download the UNest app from the App Store or Google Play. See terms and conditions at unest.co. That's UNEST.co.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, "Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing." Or this one, "I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better." Unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
It never dawned on me how much walking I used to do until I bought a house in the suburbs. Like when I'd say, I'm going for coffee, of course I was walking, but now it's like 3 miles and no latte's worth that. I find myself inviting people on walks with me like it's a scheduled activity. This morning, my neighbor asked me what I'm doing, and I actually said, I'm going for a walk with Nancy.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
It is ESPN Asheville, and just a stat correction here. Michael Vick won 2 playoff games.
And they were both with the Falcons.
Both in Atlanta. One was in 2002. One was in 2005. Did not win a playoff game after that. And
think about what you just said.
4 more appearances.
What years did he win playoff games?
2002, 2005.
Still on a rookie deal.
Yep. He was 22 years old, 24 years old.
Weird. Still on a rookie deal. Then he got paid and he never won enough. That's odd.
Strange, isn't it?
That's odd how that works. Even back then when it wasn't as pronounced because you had bigger contracts for rookies. There was no rookie scale back then. There's one scenario that Chicago has started to remind me of this to such a point that it's almost unsettling. It's Kyler Murray. They're in the exact same boat. The Chicago Bears are in the exact same boat as the Cardinals were with Kyler Murray.
Okay.
They took him to satiate a coach. But Cliff Kingsbury swore to them, "Oh, you get me Kyler Murray. I can't win with Josh Rosen, who you took at 10 last year.
Right.
But you get me Kyler Murray, and it's exactly what I need." How many times has Kyler Murray ever finished in the top 10 of points scored in his career? How many times since Kyler Murray took over 4 years ago for the Arizona Cardinals? How many times they finished top 10 scoring?
Once.
It's 0.
Oh.
It's never happened. In spite of the fact they've given him DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown. They've tried about every running back of east or west of the Mississippi that would actually take their money.
Right.
Spun around in circles trying to find offensive linemen. Meanwhile, your defense has been awful. You ever think about why that is? Hasn't mattered who the coordinator is. Hasn't mattered who the players are. You bring in J.J. Watt. You bring in all these different guys. Never matters. Why could that possibly be? Because Kyler Murray constantly puts you in bad position because you play so fast. You got a quarterback that runs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin Fields runs exponentially more. And so now you have this quarterback that nobody around the league really loves. But you keep trying to put lipstick on this, and you're basically telling the league, you're telling your fans, this is our guy. This is our guy. Well, we're actively trying to trade the number 1 pick. As opposed to just saying nothing. Just don't say anything. Don't let it out of the building. We know you're not going to pick at 1. We've come to that rationale. If you're going to trade Justin Fields, something would have already leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Nobody cares. Nobody's interested because they don't want to fix your mistake. This organization made a mistake, and I said it at the time. I had it on good authority. There was no team taking him. New England Patriots were at 16. Chicago traded up, 10 spots?
Something like that.
They traded up 10 spots to get Justin Fields. Gave up the first-round pick. I have it on good authority from every team in that circle. None of us were taking him.
Mm-hmm.
There was no other team that was calling to make that move. You did it because you were desperate. And now you're still desperate because you want to make this work, but you can't. You can't make it work. I said this at the time. This is not me saying Justin Fields couldn't work in this league. He could. He can't work with this team. Because what did you do? You jumped in line. Your roster is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, if you look 10 to 53 with the Chicago Bears, this is the worst team I've ever seen. I could argue they do not have 5 NFL starters on that team. You did. You had Roquan Smith. You got back a second-round pick for him. You also gave up a better second-round pick to get Chase Claypool. This is the organization that you think can build Philadelphia light around Justin Fields because it can work with Justin Fields. You're right. It could. But it can't work with you because you cannot do any of the things. You have never given me a reason to think you could. You made 1 Super Bowl run with an absolute elite defense where you had taken a linebacker from a teeny little school that a lot of people they had reservations about because he returned kicks too. He turned into Brian Urlacher. You're not doing that again. You're just not. And so now you have shoehorned yourself into this, and you're basically telling your fan base, oh, you're right. Keep finding mulleted morons like this one that is telling you how this is going to go. I said it with Kyler Murray, and I'll say it now. I got duped by Kyler Murray. I will not get duped again.
So the question becomes, what do? Do you stay at 1? If you can't find the dreamboat package or whatever you're looking for, 2 1s or whatever to get up to 1, then do you keep 1 and do you go defense? Or should they do the Josh Rosen thing and take Bryce Young?
Well, you can't do it with Justin Fields on the roster.
Justin Fields.
I mean, you can't do it with Justin Fields on the roster. If you could do it, you would have already done it. That's the reason everything Ryan Poles has said has been open-ended. We'd have to be blown away to take a quarterback. Do you think that any team that really believes they have their guy says, I could be blown away to take a quarterback?
No.
You think the Jacksonville Jaguars look at Trevor Lawrence and go, we could if we were blown away?
Of course not.
Los Angeles Chargers. Name me any team with a good young quarterback. Could I be blown away to take one? No, because I have a guy. I have the guy. It is the hardest position in this sport, probably in all of sports, to find. I have my guy. I want to keep him satiated. Chicago has done absolutely nothing to give him a vote of confidence. They've left this open-ended and let people like us talk about it for 6 weeks. because they know. So now what do? I don't think you can stay at 1. I mean, you can't just take Jalen Carter at 1. You can't take Will Anderson at 1. And if you look at the betting markets, it tells you that they know they're going to move off this. The problem is that now you have set your fan base up for failure. Because, yeah, if Atlanta moved up from 8 to get 1, you would get that Godfather package with 2 or 3 ones in it. Here's the thing, they're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because they took a quarterback in the 3rd round last year, and basically that is an admittance of the same regime of we set a 3rd-round pick on fire. You're not going to do that. Carolina Panthers traded up to get Matt Corral last year. New coaching staff, new everything. I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm saying you're going to go somewhere else to fix that mistake. You're not going to trade up again and throw bad capital. You traded one of the most popular players in the history of this franchise to get extra capital. And now you're telling me you're going to come off what would probably equal – I ran this through the simulator earlier, and it was like 3 ones basically.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give up 9 and 2 more ones to get up there. That's an admittance of we made copious amounts of mistakes.
Yep.
And it cost us Christian McCaffrey. And when you look at the fan base, that sends the wrong message. You're not doing that. Chicago doesn't want you to do that. They want to get to 4. And now they have just a bit of a problem. Because there is a report out today that Shane Steichen is absolutely in love with one quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft. And his name is Anthony Richardson, which means they don't have to move. I'm not trading up for that. I'm not trading up for a raw quarterback. I'm not going to do it. That is LMNO fired. You trade up when you know there is a guy. I told this last week. Look at the history of teams trading up for quarterbacks. It's a lot of Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff. It doesn't tend to work out. And it's not because these guys aren't talented. It's because when you give up that much capital, it's really hard to build that team around them. And teams around the league have figured it out. So now Chicago is trying to make chicken salad out of chicken excrement.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you talk, the worse it's going to make you look in the long run. You have all of these, you allow all of these theories to be floated out there. Why Big Jordan in our chat just said Panthers trading to 1. I'll go ahead and tell you, no, they're not. Yeah, you take me at my word. You not take me at my word. I'm going to defer to my to my partner over here. I tend to be pretty accurate with these things.
Pretty close, yeah.
They ain't going up there because they don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we want a quarterback. It's possible they love C.J. Stroud, who could fall right in their lap.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible they love Will Levis, who could fall right in their lap. It's also possible they think higher of Sam Darnold, who's already in the building and is not that expensive. And then I can build out the roster, or Derek Carr, or whatever their idea is. Scott Fitter knows if I swing and miss, I'm fired. Frank Wright's the guy. This staff, they have put everything into this. They're not going to take a swing and a miss to this high, to this size.
Right.
Because it's probably not going to work in a year. Not one of these quarterbacks is going to be 1 year from now where you go, oh, that's the no-doubter. You'll see highlights. You'll see pieces.
Which is why I think the best bet for Carolina is to go after a veteran.
I tend to agree with that, and I would keep that pick and probably go Peter Skoronski.
Absolutely.
But that's what every team that I hear anything out of their building, that's what they all say. This draft is good at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But we know they're all going to get overdrafted. All of them. Bryce Young, most years, he's so small that even though there's good tape, he would probably go 2 or 3. C.J. Stroud, there are a couple games that are as good as anything you will ever see. His tape against Georgia, I could argue, is the best quarterback tape I've seen in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much where you go, doesn't quite hold water there. Why Big Jordan said Stroud at 9. It seems impossible. It's really not. And that kind of leads me to my net point with the Bears. There's a possibility that they all just play straight up poker. I'll call.
Mm-hmm.
You've been bluffing me. I know you have a 2 and a 9 in your hand. I know you don't have what you want because every signal you have sent me is mixed. So why would I bail you out of a mistake that could ultimately cost me my job? Or I just call your bluff, knowing definitively You're not going to do it.
Just let you do
You're
it.
not going to do it because if you were going to do it, you wouldn't have let your fans conspire that Justin Fields is going to be a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro and a Hall of Famer. He's none of those things. They know it. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
And everything they've told me is that there's nobody out there. They can try until they're blue in the face. There's nobody out there. You might convince Indianapolis. Maybe. But I'm not even that sure of that.
For better or worse, it looks like Justin Fields will be staying with the Chicago Bears, and the Bears will be shopping that number 1 pick. There again, I don't remember what the number was, but whatever that number was on Jalen Carter being the number 1 pick, maybe you should play a wager on that.
We got our first one of these of the day. If you're new to the program, that means someone has super chatted in our YouTube stream, and this time it's one of our resident candidates, Gage Kaplan. Young is the best quarterback prospect in the last 7 years. If he was 6'2", 210. Draft Young even if you don't trade Fields and get a third for Fields. In a vacuum, that would work. That would work. I didn't draft Justin Fields. I'm going to go get my guy. The problem is we don't live in a vacuum.
Mm-mm.
And so Bears fans have talked themselves into this is our guy. And there is a 2% chance, and this is what I'll just go ahead and tell you, this is what they're scared of. There's a 2% chance of, we could ship Justin Fields to, say, Atlanta. Let's say Atlanta was willing to make the move. And Arthur Smith, who is a really bright guy, and that team has more money than everybody but me. Maybe they build the roster, and maybe I look like a moron.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm telling you is Justin Fields can't work with the Bears. I'm not telling you he can't work, period. You tell me he wound up with in a situation like Philadelphia? Of course it could work. We've seen this multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But Chicago's painted themselves in a corner. And that's the reason, over the last 30 years, you've had a losing record, about 20 of them.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
High wind warnings up until midnight tonight. The higher elevations to the west of Asheville. It's been a blustery day today with south winds. Our temperatures in the upper 40s tonight with a few showers, breezy weather out there. Sunshine Tuesday, high 70 degrees, low 44. Mid-70s Wednesday to kick off the new month. Then rain showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the upper 60s. Kind of a stormy start to March. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This winter, there are new COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. If it's been at least 2 months since your primary series or original booster, schedule your updated COVID-19 booster dose at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver." Unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Of course, your favorite station is on the free iHeartRadio app. Take us with you anywhere and listen anytime. Plus, get thousands of other stations and playlists all free. Download our free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, and we're on record watch again. So we had the LeBron James trying to take down Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the all-time NBA scoring list just a few weeks ago. But there's another ginormous scoring record that is at risk, kind of. So if you're unaware, you may not be a college basketball fan, the all-time leading scorer for NCAA Division I basketball in a career is Pistol Pete Maravich, 3,667 career points, a record that has stood since 1970. There's a chance over the next week we could have that record be threatened. There's a player for Detroit Mercy that has played 5 years in college basketball, much longer than Pistol Pete Maravich. Just have to throw that out there. I feel like you have to say that. That has played about 50 games more than Pistol Pete played in his career, but he currently sits at 3,604 points. Antoine Davis of Detroit Mercy has a chance. He's 63 points shy. All his team has to do is win a game.
They won't.
In the Horizon League tournament.
They're bad.
And if they win a game in the tournament, and he plays 2 games this week, he would have to average 32 points a game to break the record, which is not out of the realm of possibility. This kid is the nation's leading scorer.
He scored 35 points like 8 games in a row or something.
Right. He averages 28 points a game. So it could happen. The problem is he's on a dog water team that nobody pays attention to. You got to tip your cap to a kid who's, second on the all-time leading scorer list for D1 basketball. However,
awesome.
The chances are he's probably not going to be able to do it because his team is so bad.
And I don't care if he does. You got an extra year and a 3-point line.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Another thing I don't care about, the XFL. Hey, did you catch any of the banger action this weekend?
Yeah, 6 seconds.
Did you happen to see they played a game in Las Vegas? And I think they played it outside of a high school.
Really?
It was at Cashman Field. If you don't know what Cashman Field is, it was originally built to be a AAA baseball stadium.
Oh.
They converted it to a minor league soccer field in 2019. And before their game with the Vipers and the Defenders, they just spray paint the field. The grass was so dead that they had to spray paint the field green to make it even kind of resemble actual grass. What's the problem with that? What do you not want to see happen if you've spray painted all of the grass? You don't want to see it rain because then it turns into a big old skating rink, which is exactly what it did.
Nice.
Kicker falls down on a real short field goal. And then there was the fact that at some point, one of the tens and tens of people that showed up to this game, they took a picture of the press box, and I'm using that term super liberally. They had to build a scaffold and put a press box in it, freestanding, for the ESPN guys. They couldn't show them on television because they couldn't get close enough to not show you that they were in like a tent.
Oh, no.
They're basically in a tent that's up an elevated tent.
That's so great.
XFL just never changed.
Well, stop.
Oh, but I'm not done.
Just stop.
I also learned something new. Do you know where all of these teams practice?
No.
They all practice in Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
So it's a little hub around Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? It means when you fly to a game in Vegas, even the home team has to fly back home. They flew together.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
the quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu of the DC Defenders, posted a Snapchat of him and all the players on his team they're just happy. Hey, we got to win. And in the background, you can see all of the dejected Las Vegas players.
Oh,
They're
no.
like, I'm mad that we lost a game that nobody cares about.
You talk about a bad plane ride. Like, that's always what they say, oh, this is going to be a bad plane ride home. Well, yeah, if you gotta be on the same plane with the winning team.
Yeah, I mean, and you're probably flying Spirit Airlines based on the amount of revenue you're making here.
Spirit might be an upgrade from what
no
they have
doubt.
to take.
They might have livestock on that plane. They're flying. They're going full John Dutton. The land is not good.
Wow.
I must move my herd.
I was not aware that they were doing the hub thing.
Oh, the XFL is just one of those things that it is such an inferior product, and it's so obvious that I can't get involved.
Mm-hmm.
I know GG Gambling has been just making it rain on XFL games. First of all, good for you, because I don't know how you're doing it. I can't watch it. It's such an unbelievably inferior product that I can't do it. The USFL and the XFL are going to have to merge, and you're going to have to find some way to pair up with teams. Yeah. That's the only way I'm ever going to care.
Yeah. I am glad to know that there was a legitimate reason though for the kicker falling down on that short field goal, because
he was trying to do this on a skating rink.
Because I saw the replay, of course, in the Twitter feed, and like everybody making fun of it. Oh, this is XFL football. It's good to know that there was a little bit of a story behind that.
We have breaking news, part 2.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
In the least surprising move in the history of moves, the Washington Commanders have released Carson Wentz.
Breaking news.
Man, I'm devastated. The Carson Wentz era is officially over. I mean, and it was a fun ride.
Oh yeah,
it was
hot.
I mean, it brought memories that I will probably never remember.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the next time he makes news for him to be, retiring from the NFL 12 years from now.
I was about to say, what is the next thing that Carson Wentz is going to do to make news?
It'll be whoever he's going to back up in the NFL. Like if the starter gets hurt, it'll be like, hey, remember that guy? Carson Wentz is starting this week.
Yeah, the only way Carson Wentz is going to make news is if he is drunk or naked, because he ain't making it on a football field. God, you talk about somebody I was so wrong on. I thought Carson Wentz was like the next great quarterback in the NFL.
And you were right for half a season.
And then, shoo buddy.
And then it fell apart quite precipitously.
He heard you and is betting against himself. Ugh. Yeah. Does he even sign a deal? Do you think he can even get a backup job in this league?
Oh, yeah. If he would take the money. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. If you're a guy like Carson Wentz and you once were getting the big-time offers, the big-time deals, I mean, hell, this was just like 2-3 years ago where he was considered to be one of the next up-and-coming highest-paid quarterbacks, and now, 3 years later, we're looking at him getting cut by the Washington Commanders, and maybe somebody will give him a $5 million deal to be their backup.
I mean, and who's that going to be? I have an idea.
Cincinnati Bengals.
I was thinking Frank Reich with the Carolina Panthers.
Oh. Yeah,
alternative.
Panther fans, how you feel about your quarterback
Go
situation?
into next year with Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz and Matt Corral. Three men enter. One.
I mean, that is a
kind
way
of comes out the winner.
That is a way for him to stay in the news, though. Because, I mean, that would be a bigger talking point than you wanted it to be. Is Sam Darnold going to start the season, or will it be Carson Wentz? See, I feel like they need to go out and get Derek Carr. And then I've just convinced myself.
I've come to realize
that's the best path.
That why Big Jordan in our YouTube comments absolutely hates Will Levis. He said I'd take Carson Wentz over Will Levis.
Don't do that.
The Will Levis thing is going to be so much fun for me for the next 3 months. I'm not telling you he's foolproof. I'm telling you he's going to blow up the combine.
Right.
And now that I know he's throwing, just wait. Just wait until evaluators see this kid in a pair of shorts. They're going to do the same thing with Anthony Richardson, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Those two will blow the combine out of the water. I've seen it too many times. And then they'll go to their pro days, and they'll draw up some game plan, which is what you do.
Right, the razzle
that shows
dazzle.
off, hey, look, Will Levis can throw one 80 yards in the air, and somebody will go, ah!
I mean, that's what the combine does, though. I mean, the combine gives you reason for overreaction. If you see a guy perform well in shorts, you're gonna be head over heels.
I catch a lot of shade on Levis. I'm really, really intoxicated by the arm. I like every quarterback in this class except one. I finished.
Richardson.
Oh yeah, I finished my top 300 rankings for this draft class. Care to take a stab at where Anthony Richardson is? Just a number. Top 300.
104.
You're too high.
Really?
He's lower than that.
Oh wow. 157.
You actually almost hit on the nose. This is 154.
Oh.
154. And somebody's going to fall in love with him and take him in the top 5. Mark my words. I've seen it too many times. How could C.J. Stroud make it a 9? That's how. Because 2 teams fall in love with the big arm of Anthony Richardson and the big arm of Will Levis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you it's what they should do. I will tell you there is a reason that the same 11 teams need a quarterback about every 3 years.
Right.
Because they're like children. They get a new toy and they go, look, it's the greatest toy ever. And then 2 years from now, they go, look, I broke it. and now it's a piece of useless plastic that I used to keep papers from flying off my desk.
Oh. You have the landmines in every draft class. There are landmines in every draft class that you're going to go down. We've seen it,
And every one of them for me in this draft class is either an edge rusher or a quarterback. I feel like so long as you stay away from those 2 things, I almost don't think you can miss on the high side.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let's see, I think it's number 8. From 8 on my board to the 50s is separated by 2 points.
Really?
Because I do a 100-point scale. That's how I grade players.
Okay.
I have 40-some-odd players that are from 88 to 85 or 86.
So it is a deep draft. It's just not littered with high-end talent. Is that what you're saying?
You have 2 what we think are special defensive players. I'm in like with the quarterback class, not love. 2 high-end corners, and then there's a lot of, hey, they're good. They do stuff. I don't know that you're going to see many stars come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be as bad as, what was that, 2014? That's one of the first drafts I ever did. I still wake up in cold sweats.
What class
that
was
the Eric Fisher goes number 1. Deion Jordan, I believe, went 3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I still wake up in cold sweats at how badly I missed that because I wanted it to be good, and I knew it wasn't, and I kept selling myself. I think in the top 20 picks, there were 3 players that ever made a Pro Bowl. One of them is Lane Johnson bar none the best player in that class.
Mm-hmm.
It's gross. This is not that class. You'll see a bunch of guys that probably ultimately make Pro Bowls. There's not a lot of special talent. Our buddy Gage with a super chat.
I'm your huckleberry.
What are the variables in your grading system? I would probably take me an hour to explain that to you. It depends on the position. So the way I do this is I watch tape on guys and then I put them in a range. So like I watched Anthony Richardson and I had a 3rd round grade on him when I watched him. But unlike the NFL, I do have 31 first round grades because I'm going to do a mock draft that I have to have 31 players. There's 31 picks, so there should be 31 first round grades. I'm not picking for a team, so I don't have the ability to trade out. I have to pick a player. Well, then I start putting them in tiers, and it almost becomes all right, I'm on the clock, I am blank team, and I need everything. Who would I take, A or B? And I go through and do that all the way down to 300. So I tier them off based on the tape, based on the film, and then I rank them that way.
All right.
One of these days I'll sit down and do a YouTube video. The only problem is that it might last 3 days.
This is Combine Week. The Combine gets going. When does it start? Thursday? Up in Indianapolis?
The on-field workouts start Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's reporting to Indianapolis tonight or tomorrow.
All the quarterbacks are going to be throwing and doing all their measurables on Saturday, I believe it is. And, yeah.
And you're going to get almost all of the quarterbacks throwing. The only one that said he's not is Bryce.
Right. Bryce Young says he's not throwing. Everybody else says, yeah, we'll throw.
And that's because Bryce knows my floor is 2. Everybody else goes, my floor is shoe.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and it's ESPN Asheville. When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The madness starts this week. It's college basketball tournament week on News Radio 570, WWNC, and ESPN Asheville. We get it started Friday at 11:30 on ESPN Asheville with the Bulldogs opening game in the Big South Tournament from Charlotte. The Southern Conference Tournament gets rolling on Saturday on ESPN Asheville with quarterfinal action and continuing on News Radio 570, WWNC through Sunday. So tune in this weekend to catch all the action. Our Big South and SoCon tournament coverage is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
EasyCater presents We've Got Your Back, Up Singers.
Backup singers. So right before this important meeting, I get a text from EasyCater that the restaurant lost power.
No electricity.
And I'm like, are you kidding me?
She said sarcastically.
But EasyCater was like, don't worry.
No sweat.
They got another restaurant to fill the whole order.
The whole order.
And I was like, are you kidding me? But in a good way.
Inflection is everything.
Problem with your order? EasyCater has your back with over 100,000 restaurants.
EasyCater.
Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
They got your back.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to ESPNAVL.com.
Coffee's the closer's only. Get them the money.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Sometimes you overthink things and you get a little overconfident. Happened to me Friday. There are times that you just have to take the layup instead of kicking out for the deep three. Today we're getting back to my favorite mantra. Keep it simple, stupid. This is Greene on Greene, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. Baylor is a 1.5-point favorite tonight at Oklahoma State. This is a fun line because it shows how the public will overreact in a sport like college basketball. See, here's the thing. There's only so many players that have name recognition, so the average gambler sees that one of them's not playing, and they overreact. Baylor's best player, Keontae George, rolled his ankle on Saturday, will miss this game. That has a lot of bettors thinking that Baylor's going to drop this one to a desperate Oklahoma State team. Here's what they're missing. Baylor's still drastically better than the Cowboys, even without their best player. Oklahoma State's claim to fame all year has been their defense, but in the last 4, they've been getting annihilated, and they just flat out don't have the offense to keep up in a shootout. Bear down by a whole bunch. My West Virginia Mountaineers are a 4-point dog tonight at Iowa State. This is the oldest narrative in all of sports. Don't let a team beat you twice. West Virginia lost an absolute heartbreaker to Kansas on Saturday. This is an undisciplined team that turns the ball over a lot, and they very much strike me as the team that'll allow a game to carry over. Iowa State just lost to Oklahoma. That gives them considerably more incentive to not drop this one at home. West Virginia's only 1-7 on the road. Iowa State's 13-2 at home. This is conflicting styles that heavily favor the Cyclones, and that's where I'm going. Iowa State wins at home and covers the 4. And finally, in the NBA, the New Orleans Pelicans are a 4-point favorite tonight at home against the Orlando Magic. Over-under is 227. The Magic are the definition of a tanking team. They're incredibly young. They can't close close games, and at times you could convince me they're actively trying to lose. It's a talented team, but they only have one real veteran, and it shows because they've been dog-walked on the road. New Orleans, on the other hand, just not the same team without Zion Williamson, who remains out tonight. They've only won 4 of their last 18 games, and their hot start is very much in the rearview mirror at this point. That being said, these are the kind of games that they know they have to win. Until this lineup is whole again, they'll keep fading, but they should be able to comfortably be able to handle the Magic at home. Give me the Pels, I'll give the 4, and the under in a game that may not be competitive heading into the 4th. For more, follow us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy, and as always, Greene on Greene is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Love the savings with Ingles, love the winnings with me. Mull it out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
High wind warnings up until midnight tonight. The higher elevations to the west of Asheville. It's been a blustery day today with south winds. Our temperatures in the upper 40s tonight with a few showers, breezy weather out there. Sunshine Tuesday, high 70 degrees, low 44. Mid-70s Wednesday to kick off the new month. Then rain showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the upper 60s. Kind of a stormy start to March. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. During Staples Teacher Palooza, teachers save big, or you save. It's the perfect time to help your favorite teacher stock their classroom. Save 25% on classroom decor. Plus, 2-ounce bottles of Purell hand sanitizer are just 49 cents. In-store only. Offer ends $3.11. Hurry to Staples today.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries starting at just $79.99. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
The Sportsocracy.
Hello, everybody. This is good old JR Jim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer. Boy, these boys are smart. You talk about Goofier and a pet coon. Let me tell you something. This show is a legitimate slobber knocker.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
I'm Christine Lisi, breaking NFL news. One and done in D.C. for quarterback Carson Wentz. Wentz coming off a rough 2022 season, released by the Commanders, a move that had been long expected. The move does save Washington $26 million on the salary cap. Sources tell ESPN's Adam Schefter the Bears are leaning toward trading the top overall pick in April's draft, and several teams have approached Chicago. Bears GM Ryan Poles reaffirmed his commitment to quarterback Justin Fields last month. Whichever team winds up picking first overall, there's no doubt which quarterback should be selected with that pick, in the opinion of Fitz and Harry co-host Harry Douglas.
Number 1 for me is Bryce Young, and number 2 is C.J. Stroud. I'm not taking anybody else over those guys.
I agree.
Because I've seen their body of work. I've seen them do it against stellar competition. And you want to know the main thing, Fitz? I see them be consistent in doing so. There's no question about consistency with either one of those two guys.
Quarterback C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson will throw at the NFL Combine on Saturday, but Bryce Young will wait for Alabama's Pro Day next month. Although he won't throw, Young will go through medicals and measurements at the Combine.
If you need to hire, then you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring platform helps you schedule and conduct video interviews right from your employer dashboard. Finding your next great hire has never been more streamlined. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And the Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. It is the 4 o'clock hour here in the Sportsocracy, live in the Ingles Studio. Don't forget, you can take us with you everywhere you go with the iHeart Radio app and see us everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat. Now, we're going to continue our off-season previews in this hour with the Pittsburgh Steelers up first. Then we got the Detroit Lions, that up-and-coming team in the NFC North. Now the favorite, I believe, to win the NFC North next year. Especially if you consider that Aaron Rodgers probably won't be returning to the Green Bay Packers. Get some kicks out of that, as well as position-by-position free agent grades and rankings. Coming up, we're going to do tackles today, and we'll do safeties as well.
And there are, a lot of other stories around we can't talk about the former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers because he just sues everybody that does.
Right.
Did you hear the story this morning of Pat McAfee got served with the papers from He Who Shall Not Be Named?
Mm-hmm.
And the girl that delivered them said, "I'm a huge fan of the show. I think they just hired my company to do this."
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's treating the lawsuit much like I would. It's the West Virginia in him. I know how this goes.
Absolutely. Brett Favre.
No. You can't say his name. We can't say his name. Everybody that does gets sued, and frankly, I don't want to even think about that. I don't want to pay that, okay?
Yeah, we don't have the lawyers to stand up to Brett Favre.
Because Brett's going to do it with lawyers. I mean, for me, it'd just be, all right, let's just go toe-to-toe. You're 100, and I'm not. So let's go, Wranglers. That's how we should settle things in this country, but that's just me.
What? Just going toe-to-toe, just knocking it out in the parking lot?
We have a dispute. Pistols at dawn, I do declare.
You've been watching too much Yellowstone.
I have. I'm not going to lie, I have. And I was forewarned that when you watch this show, The further on you go, the more you're like, let's just fight it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just go. Let's go. I already had a little bit of that anyway.
All right. Getting into the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason here. I have said it already. I think this is I think Mike Tomlin has now proved it to me.
It took him 15 years, but he finally
proved it to me that it doesn't matter. That it doesn't matter. This team can still be an outside contender even when they're not good, because they weren't good this past year.
And yet they still went 9-8.
And yet they still ended up winning some games. Kenny Pickett, he's the quarterback moving forward.
Can we be really honest about Kenny Pickett?
Okay.
He wasn't bad.
No.
I'm not going to tell you he was great. He wasn't. He was a middle-of-the-road quarterback. They need, to me, I look at this team and go, you need two things a lot. If you've got 2 picks in the top 32, because you got the first pick in the second round from trading Chase Claypool, which I still can't say that out loud without laughing. If both of those picks are an offensive lineman, somebody somewhere needs to explain themselves. Because you're not going to take a corner of that how you just very rarely ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you've tried a lot of things on this team. You need a corner, at least. You need to fix the offensive line.
You need a left tackle. They should probably be in the hunt for Skoronski.
No, Skoronski's not falling 17.
Paris Johnson's
not falling 17.
Okay, so who is it outside of that?
Well, and I would give this person their flowers because it's one of the funnier comments we've gotten in a long time. When I did the last mock draft, I said Pittsburgh Steelers fans are yelling obscenities at their computer, and whoever it was said it was exactly what I was doing, and I subscribed now because you're a witch. It's funny. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm probably the drop dead spot on Osiris Torrance because I have him as a top 10 player in this draft.
Okay,
but he's a guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do that, and then whoever falls. Anton Harrison's the one I keep having fall to them. And if you walk away from the top 32 picks with 2 starters on the offensive line next year, I don't see any reason that you can't be. I mean, Stephen Tao has a good point. 9-8's not really contending in the AFC at this point, but there's no reason you can't keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year you basically had no running game whatsoever, with even Najee Harris being good. And he was good. The offensive line was not.
Mm-hmm.
If you look over yards above expectation, Najee Harris might have been the best running back in the league last year.
It's quite possible because, I mean, it is hard to gain yardage when you're getting hit before you get to the line of scrimmage.
I mean, and they just need pieces. But this is a really good drafting team. And this draft lays out really well for them. Because, like I said, you need 2 pieces on the offensive line. I think you need another receiver, another linebacker. The Miles Jack thing didn't particularly work out last year. And you need to address corner. But it wouldn't shock me in the least if one of these veteran cornerbacks winds up in Pittsburgh, and now that defense is formidable again.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Highsmith has just been an aberration. Nobody that watched his tape coming out could have thought he would be that good, especially with no T.J. Watt.
Right.
He was even good when Watt wasn't on the field.
He was. He became the superstar.
He was the anti-Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree looked like Batman when Batman was on the other side. The only problem is he looked like Alfred when Batman wasn't on the other side.
So where do the Steelers stand as far as money to spend in the offseason?
They are 18th. I mean, it's still early. There's a lot of maneuvering.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll bring back Cameron Sutton. He's just too valuable. I mean, in this just really weak free agency class, you have to be – you can't let these guys hit the open market for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Trade market's going to be really lively, but free agency's not all that good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nice role pieces, but a guy like Cam Sutton, you can't let him get out of the building.
So if they do fix the offensive line, say they come away with 2 rookies that they can slot in spaces on that offensive line, how good can this team be?
That's a difficult answer because this roster was not good enough last year to be 9-8.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this roster is ever going to be good enough to legitimately contend because I think you have too many Kenny Pickett's. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He is the ordinary glazed donut of the NFL. It's fine. It'd be better if it had like sprinkles on it or something else.
Right.
Just anything that I could write home about.
Right.
He's really just dough and glaze. That's it. But, I mean, I think they can be a 10-7 team. I don't know how. I mean, this really speaks to culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because the roster is – they have a roster that's very L.A. Rams-ish, and then it's good on the high side. You got two high-level receivers. I like George Pickens a lot. I love Pat Freiermuth. Najee Harris, one of the best running backs in the league to me. Two good edge rushers, a third with Cam Hayward, who plays at the end in a 3-4, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's a lot of good on the high side.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is that it gets real thin in a hurry. So, for me, there's probably no team whose draft interests me more than Pittsburgh.
Okay. You said you definitely want them to go first two picks, offensive line.
Well, and that's biased. If there's a big, I don't ever want you to reach, especially in a draft like this.
Right.
You will hear me scream this from the mountaintops. Do not reach this year. There's too many guys that are too similar. If you've got 4 needs, you don't necessarily have to tackle the biggest one early. I can see this coming through one mock draft. I am going to get just hit over the head with this routinely.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers where I see it the most. Because there's so many of them. And depending on what you're looking for, you don't necessarily need to be the first one to take a guy. There's a handful of positions. I don't want to be the first team to take one. Pittsburgh, You need a linebacker. I do not want you taking one at 17. It's too high for every one of them. You get by with it 32, but I really like it better with the second round pick or the third round pick. Because that's where you're going to get value. And that's what smart teams do, and Pittsburgh has shown themselves to be one of those.
Right. So you said you would be in on Osiris Torrance, the guard/tackle, but is a guard at the next level
He's
from
a guard.
Florida.
He's a guard.
Okay.
And he would play on the left side replacing Dotson.
With the number 1 pick in the second round that they got from the Chicago Bears, that's where you would go left tackle.
Anton Harrison.
Anton Harrison? Okay.
He fits that team. I just don't think you can take him at 17. And Pittsburgh will be one of those teams that this is a fun year on the FAFO scale of, well, we want to trade down. Cool. Tell that to all 31 teams and see how many times that phone rings. Because I'm going to bet you it's not many.
Who's a linebacker that they should look at later in the draft? I know you've got one on your mind.
Drew Sanders is the one that I think fits them the best. But he also doesn't necessarily – I don't see a path that he's going to be there. Somebody's going to fall in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said I see Trenton Simpson going to the Houston Texans because he reminds me so much of D'Amico Ryans. He reminds me of Fred Warner. He really reminds me of every linebacker I've ever seen at a high level run that San Francisco defense. But there are a lot of them. I mean, Deion Henley is a guy that I am just hammered drunk on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, next to me, he would look like a small child, but he also runs about a 4.38. It's just a different time. My bigger question is, where do you address corner? Because it's good on the high side, it's good on the second tier, and then it becomes just a wasteland after that.
Mm-hmm.
And my fear is that one of these positions you're going to have to wait. You got 3 picks, I think, in the top 49. It's either 49 or 51. You need a linebacker, you need 2 linemen, you need a corner.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's going to have to wait.
Right.
And if it's offensive line, you're going to have somebody. You're going to have Dan Moore starting at left tackle again.
Not the ideal scenario there. So
no, I mean, he can play on the right side.
You might consider cornerback with that third pick in the draft and that second round pick rather than.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with Pitt. That's been the problem with their offensive line forever, is that they have had this I'm not going to say it's wrong. It's just there's always going to be a weak spot. Virtually every player on that offensive line plays out of position. Like Dan Moore should be a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, right tackle. He's played left tackle for 2 years. He's been genuinely awful. Okorafor, I mean, he should be a swing tackle. He's your starting right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And you just do that every single year. You need to actually go invest in that, because the only way Kenny Pickett's going to succeed at a high level is if you can get the most out of Najee Harris. This is also the problem with taking a running back in the first round. I love Najee. Do you not think if they had this to do over again, they would go, well, we could have one of those second-tier running backs and have taken a left tackle right there, and all of a sudden everything would be more hunky-dunky.
What do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers being a player for, like, Taylor Lewan?
That wouldn't shock me. He has said he will not play for any of the teams in the AFC South, which I greatly respect. That wouldn't be a bad solution. That's what teams like Pittsburgh do.
Mm-hmm.
They find the veteran guy off the scrap heap that will take less money because he wants to contend. And players look at this team and go, no matter what, last year you probably had the 10th worst roster in the league. You finished the game out of the playoffs. So it makes all the sense in the world. And before we go to break,
I'm your huckleberry.
Gage says Andre Dillard to the Steelers makes too much sense. I don't disagree with you. He doesn't really fit the kind of player they're after. But I get it. I could see them making a run saying, hey, we could develop him. I'm sure somebody on YouTube will say, well, the Steelers don't develop linemen. Yeah, I get that. I'm more talking about what they're thinking, not how it's going to go.
Right.
And the Chicago Bears think they have a franchise quarterback. Okay, not everybody thinks things that are actually accurate.
Right. You're in the Sportsocracy, and it is ESPN Asheville. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about the tackles out there in free agency. Is there a generational talent? Well, yeah, I feel like there's one, but he's probably not going to be leaving the team that he's currently with. So who's left on the free agency pile after that?
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is crawling 26 eastbound between Hendersonville Road and Chimney Rock Road. 26 on the westbound side, stop and go between Airport Road and Long Shoals Road. Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. New Leicester Highway eastbound near Elida Home Road, an accident reported. Smoky Park Highway, no backups near Inca Village. Sardis Road, moving from Sand Hill Road to Pond Road, is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Restoration Services of Asheville.
First Restoration Services has been responding 24/7 to property damage from water, fire, and storm damage since 1987. If you have a disaster on your property, there's only one company to call first. First Restoration Services of Asheville, 684-1582.
Mom, Dad, let's talk. Before you know it, I'm out of here. I want to go to college. Or start a business. My allowance ain't gonna cut it. Ooh, sorry I said ain't.
The UNest app puts smart investing tools right in the palm of your hand. And with the UNest gifting link, friends and family can contribute to your child's account. Start investing today. Download the UNest app from the App Store or Google Play. See terms and conditions at unest.co. That's UNEST.co.
Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people can recommend the supplies you need, including a filter, funnel, shop towels, drain pans, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The madness starts this week. It's college basketball tournament week on News Radio 570, WWNC, and ESPN Asheville. We get it started Friday at 11:30 on ESPN Asheville with the Bulldogs opening game in the Big South tournament from Charlotte. The Southern Conference tournament gets rolling on Saturday on ESPN Asheville with quarterfinal action and continuing on News Radio 570, WWNC through Sunday. So tune in this weekend to catch all the action. Our Big South and SoCon tournament coverage is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a
car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, God?
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN. Asheville off-season rolls on for the NFL. And, well, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're in the market for upgrades on the offensive line. Could they be a player in the tackles market in free agency? Yeah. They could do some cap calisthenics and find some way to pay one of these top-end tackles.
Well, there's only a top-end tackle.
Well,
it's Orlando Brown, end of message, repeat the line. And even then, I am being very liberal with top-end.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that everybody will want to go after. The problem is he'll probably be franchise tagged again by the Kansas City Chiefs.
I feel like Kansas City can't do anything else. I mean, yeah, he's going to get paid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you trade that much capital to go get a guy. He knows what he's worth. So I don't see Orlando Brown getting out of Kansas City. Which then leaves you with Tier 2, which is very Mike McGlinchey.
Wonderful.
Oh, he's going to get so much more money than he should. He's going to get so much more money than he should.
Mm-hmm.
He was a turnstile in that game with Philadelphia. But he's still reasonably young, just 28 years old. First-round pick. I just don't feel – I never look at him and go, oh, yeah, you were a top 10 talent. Oh, you're fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I can get with you with Mike McGlinchey. After that, you go –
Jawaan Taylor.
Oh, Jawaan Taylor.
If there's one player on the free agency market that I'm telling you right now is going to get more money than you think, it's Jawaan Taylor. Because he doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Jacksonville to bring back.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll have Cam Robinson, you'll have Walker Little, who plays on the right side, and it was pretty obvious of that. So, yeah, I just take the conditional pick.
Mm-hmm.
Or the comp pick, I mean. Somebody's going to give him a bag. I won't be shocked if he gets more money than McGlinchey does.
Okay.
Which is gross to say out loud. He was fine this year, just stop paying people because they have 1 year when the deal is up in that prove-it year. And then they get the money, and they revert back to the same player you had always seen them be.
Right. Taylor Lewan after that?
Lewan is probably going to – he's going to be ring chasing. I just don't know with who. There's not a direct fit. Now you go to Arthur Smith in Atlanta. Well, we already have Matthews, so it's,
right.
I don't have to do that.
Right.
I see him signing like a $6 million deal, 1 year deal.
Okay.
You can't trust him to stay healthy. He's 35?
32.
Oh, he's only 32?
He's only 32.
Good Lord, that is the oldest 32-year-old man in the history of time. He's 3 years younger than I am. That might be the first person I can genuinely say I look younger than him.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Wright might look younger than me. Taylor Lewan looks older than me.
So after Taylor Lewan,
then it gets very George Fante. Which I like George.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, $10 million like George. He's been playing with my Jets. He's very athletic. He's a former tight end. Wouldn't be completely stunned to see somebody give him a shot at left tackle because he did a fair enough job of it.
Mm-hmm. But is health a concern with him too?
He does tend to get dinged up a lot. I'm not so sure he fits. George Fante's one of those catch-22 players of the system he fits best in is the hardest on his body, and he can't stay healthy. But then you get him into he has to pull less, and now he can't use his what got him here. The fact he's so unbelievably athletic for somebody that's as big as he is, that's why you're playing in the NFL. But it makes you more likely to get hurt.
Guy who had a decent year this past year, Caleb McGarry.
I don't see Atlanta allowing him to walk. I don't know that you're going to love the return you get, but Atlanta's line was not their problem last year. The line was actually one of the high sides, and they have a ton of money.
Right.
It's a guy you sunk a first-round pick into. I just don't think you can let – I'm going to say that a lot about free agents because, all right, so Atlanta, for example, they got $50-some-odd million before they do anything. Who are you going to spend it on? I mean, big game hunting here, it could end up being Jawaan Taylor. So I'm going to pay more money to a guy that's not been in my system when I have a guy in my system that I already know what he is.
Right.
But I'm not going to pay him.
And I used draft capital on him. He had the best year of his career this past year. And maybe that does concern you. Maybe that does concern you that the best year of his career came in a contract year.
That should always scare you. Should always scare you. Because that tends to be guys that maybe don't give you 100% when they don't have to.
Although, there again, maybe it's just a sign of this system. That the system's finally catching on. They're finally working it to its highest level of ability.
Oh, I mean, I can't tell you there's never been a guy that has his best year in a contract year and then he continues to do that. I'm sure it's happened.
Sure.
The only problem is that I can give you about 50 where it hasn't. Oh, yeah, that one great year. Weird. That was right before they paid him. And all of a sudden, he made a whole mess of money, and you never saw that guy again.
I would not be spending major money on him. Talking about Caleb McGarry.
No.
But
and he's probably going to get that, too.
He's going to get it from somewhere.
Well, I mean, there's money to be spent. I would argue there's probably not 20 guys in all of free agency that are worth more than 8 figures a year. He's one of them. So if you let that guy hit the market and you've got the Bears, I swear I'm not just piling on the Bear. But if he hits the market, he's going to be a Chicago Bear because they'll come through with $20 million a year because they have it. And they know that there's not a ton of players to spend it on. So then Caleb McGarry winds up being $3 or $4 or $5 million more a year than he should be. And that's when you look at contracts and go, how did we think that was a good idea?
But there again, he's not a good enough player to use the franchise tag on because you'll end up paying him like $16 million.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
You would?
If I was Atlanta, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that's exactly what I would do. Because then I'm only on the hook for a year. If he reverts back to that same guy, can't keep the energy up, whatever the case may be, I'm out of this in a
So
year.
Put him on another short-term contract and let him have another contract year.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not averse to doing that again next year if he has one of those. It's just the way the cap works in this league. Then you get into the veterans. Riley Reef.
How many teams has he played for?
Not as many as you think.
Really?
No. And I have a funny feeling he's going to end up being a Jet because we've flirted with him so many times. Please don't do that. Eric Fisher, he's another one that's – I'll be honest with you, the one that I'm most interested in is Isaiah Wynn.
Okay.
Because he hasn't worked out in New England, and I just have this – let's call it a gut instinct that there's going to be a team that looks at him and goes, oh, we can get the most out of him. Bill didn't know where to play him. We're going to slide him in at guard. And he winds up getting – that's one of my favorite things to do when we go through free agency lists like this. Who's the guy that's going to get – like the deal's going to come down on March 15th, and you just go, what? Isaiah Wynn got 3 years, $42 million from the Chicago Bears.
Yikes.
And that's one I bet – because there's nothing he's ever done that would suggest that that's who he is. But I could see in a bear market like this, I could see somebody going, hey, we have money. Would you like to take it? We put it in a briefcase for you.
Okay. All right. Any other notable names?
The Kelvin Beachum, Jason Peters. Jason Peters has to retire at some point, right?
I would think so.
I mean, he's 41 years old. And then it gets into the retread, man, how many times are we going to do this with Mike Rimmers?
Oh, God.
Or Marcus Cannon.
Greg Little. Jermaine Ifedi.
It's just all they are is depth pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of this free agency should be used that way. Very rarely do you ever see the high-end talent move in this period. And if you do, it's because they were cut or because they were traded or whatever the case may be. You don't see a lot of these guys. If you hit free agency, there is often a reason. And it might be a small reason of we don't have the money or we don't have the money to pay that much or whatever the case may be. Very rarely do you look at a guy in his prime and go, there's no warts on this kid, and he's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, no.
Usually it's, okay, there's some warts here, but are his warts better than the warts we currently have?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you wind up spending bad money.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. When we come back, we'll get weird.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
High wind warnings up until midnight tonight. The higher elevations to the west of Asheville. It's been a blustery day today with south winds. Our temperatures in the upper 40s tonight with a few showers, breezy weather out there. Sunshine Tuesday, high 70 degrees, low 44. Mid-70s Wednesday to kick off the new month. Then rain showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the upper 60s. Kind of a stormy start to March. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 26 westbound west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Smoky Park Highway moving well. Patton Avenue, no backups. New Leicester Highway, problem-free. Hendersonville Road, no delays. Sweeten Creek Road, northbound, approaching Mills Gap Road, a few light backups. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue near Edgewood Road, seeing some delays north and southbound. I'm Lynn Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If cold candidate calls aren't turning into hot hiring leads, then you need Indeed. Because Indeed's powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, screen, and interview candidates all from one place. Find your next great hire visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Breathe easier with Zero Res Air Duct Cleaning. Get your home insanely clean with Zero Res. Right now, mention me, ESPN Asheville, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
What do you mean he went searching for fresher powder? We have full classes today.
Instructor down at Vesper Ski School.
Toward each other to snowplow, honey, not away.
She needs more ski instructors to slalom through the day-to-day.
Pizza? Fries? Whoa, Braley, no! Pizza!
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Make sure you're at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, March the 2nd through the 6th for the 2023 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. Experience fun for the whole family as your favorite teams compete for the championship and a berth to the NCAA tournament. Get your discounted tickets to the 2023 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships today at your local neighborhood Ingles Market. For more information, visit SoConHoops.com. That's SoConHoops.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Inside the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville, it is the Sportsocracy and time to get weird. We're going to go up to Chicago, where last Thursday, actually it's just outside of Chicago, in a suburb of Chicago called Libertyville, Illinois.
You do know this is weird, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Where
you mentioned Chicago, so I assumed maybe you thought it was crimes.
Well, I mean, there are crimes involved. However, this is too weird. I've got another crime story coming up in the next hour.
Probably also from Chicago. You know what? Today I'm just getting Chicago as much as I can.
Around 3:30 in the afternoon on Thursday in Libertyville, a 34-year-old mother pulled up to her house in her 2021 Volkswagen Atlas with two. I'd never heard of that. I don't know what that is.
That might be. Is that an off-brand car?
She had her two kids with her. I guess she'd been to the store or something and then took one of the kids out of the car, took the kid inside the house. I guess as she's doing that, taking the kid inside the house, a BMW pulls into her driveway, blocking her in. At that point, she comes back outside to see, well, who is this that's pulled in my driveway behind me? She goes over, doesn't recognize the car, immediately goes to her car to protect her 2-year-old son that is still inside, when a man jumps out of the BMW, knocks her over, and steals the car. The BMW, obviously, being driven by someone else, they pulled in to steal the car. They pull out. One of them, they don't know which one, ran over the woman. Poor woman suffered serious injuries to her extremities by being run over by this car. However, then she calls the police. The police say, hey, well, Volkswagen has the CarNet program that you can call Volkswagen and they'll be able to locate your car wherever it is. The problem is when the police called, Volkswagen required them to give them the payment to reactivate the CarNet system. They had the police on the phone delaying an active investigation of a kidnapping of a 2-year-old boy because they wanted a payment for this month's car locator service.
This is the same vehicle company that once went, hey, we made a diesel car, and then it exploded a bunch of times. Needless to say,
they finally were able to work through, and the police were able to get them to locate the car. They were able to find it. There is no word on exactly how long this process took, but a spokesperson for Volkswagen says they're not supposed to do that. When emergency services calls, we have a program in place to use that service, but for some reason the policy did not get followed at this juncture, and that will be rectified.
That would actually be one time that somebody could have asked, what are you, a cop? Yeah,
I am a cop, and I'm going to need you to locate this 2-year-old boy. Unfortunately, the mother still in the hospital suffering the serious injuries due to being run over by the car. Oh, by the way, she's 6 months pregnant, too.
This story's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. But come on, Volkswagen. You got to be better than that.
There are certain things in this life that are just grossly overrated, and Eric and Athena Tinsar have discovered one of those. They built a house on a golf course. What happens when you build a house on a golf course?
It gets targeted by bad golfers.
It's not targeted. Targeted means you meant to do it.
True.
Golf is one of the only times that I didn't mean to. I hit the ball, and it went where it went. Within the first 18 months of owning their house, which they bought in 2017, and it sits in the dog leg of the 15th hole of the Indian Pond Country Club in Kingston. They were taking Tupperware containers a month, like the gigantic tub of Tupperware full of golf balls that hit their house, it's damaged their siding, all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So in 5 or 6 years, they lost 8 windows, had to have their siding replaced twice. And so they decided that they were going to do the only thing that made sense. Move, right?
Right.
Now they sued the golf course. They sued the golf course and were originally awarded $3.5 million in damages. Wait a minute.
Wow.
Let me get this straight. So you bought a house. Yes. Were you forced to buy the house? Did they hold you at gunpoint? No. They just wanted the house. But you bought it on a golf course in a dogleg, and now you're angry that golf balls are hitting your car. Yep. So this is why Jeremy's not allowed to jury duty. They will look at me and go, "That's a grown man with a mullet. He's out."
It's not going to go our way.
He's out because I feel like he's going to ask, "What are you, stupid?" 2 or 3 times, and mistrial. So a higher court in Massachusetts threw out the verdict and said that that it is reasonable because the house is located on a golf course that would be hit by golf balls. So now we are going through another round of litigation. We live by a simple philosophy here of the FAFO scale.
Mm-hmm.
The Tensars fawed by buying a house on a golf course. They fawed because golfers are bad, like real bad. And based on the condition of this golf course, I'm going to bet you're not getting the best golfers in Massachusetts coming to what appears to be a rather dead golf course. Stop buying houses on golf courses, okay? It's a golf course.
I was going to say, or at least if you're going to buy a house on a golf course, stop blaming other people for what you know is going to happen.
So if you bought a house in the middle of, I don't know, Daytona International Speedway, would you get angry when car parts started landing in your yard? No, because that's what it does.
I don't know. I feel like I would definitely get upset about that.
Well, then I guess you should have bought a house somewhere else there, Puddin'. Whole lot of land all over the county.
Right.
Maybe don't buy the one where people are firing projectiles at your house.
It is the Sportsocracy, and it is ESPN Asheville. It's time to talk about the Detroit Lions. What's their offseason look like? They won 8 out of their last 10 games to close out this season. And now it looks like the window has opened wide for this Detroit Lions team to take the next step forward and not only be a playoff contender, but to be the favorite for the NFC South? Or, the NFC North?
I would say they're the favorite. There's no way Minnesota doesn't take a step back. That roster's just not that good, and that's the luckiest team in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
You got Aaron Rodgers probably – I shouldn't say probably – there's a 50-50 shot that Aaron Rodgers will be departing Green Bay. And I'll be honest with you, I don't care if he does or not. I think Detroit's better whether they have Rodgers or not. You kept that defensive coordinator,
right.
Joe Barry.
Right.
So, I don't have a whole lot of reason to think that that's there's been a lot of talk about them trading for Jalen Ramsey.
The Detroit Lions?
Yes. The rumor is that the Rams want a 1 and a 3. You're not going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, if I was Detroit, I would at least have the conversation about 18. You're not getting you're not getting 6 back. Sorry.
No.
That ship sailed long ago.
Right.
And I'm going to take Tyree Wilson or Devin Witherspoon or somebody right there. That will be another piece on my defense. But if the Rams came to me and said, we take 18 for Jalen Ramsey in this draft, I'm not sure I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing with house money anyway.
So what is their number one priority in the offseason?
See, for me, this is where the way I build a team and the way that fans want a team built varies so greatly. With anything we've talked about with the draft, with Detroit, they immediately go, well, we shouldn't take anything but defense. How many young guys do you want on this defense?
Mm-hmm.
You have no veterans. I mean, of the 16 players that play realistic snaps, it is shocking how many of them are 26 or younger. So, I mean, that's where I'm looking. You know, for me, if I'm Detroit, my ideal scenario is somehow Tyree Wilson falls to me at 6. That would be ideal.
Bad thing is, most mock drafts have him coming off at 5 to the Seattle Seahawks.
It just depends.
If they keep that pick.
It depends on how things go. So, And anytime I say they need a tight end, immediately, the gnashing of teeth. Yes, you need a tight end. Okay, sorry. I hate to break it to you. But we had more touchdowns than any team in the NFL to tight ends. Uh-huh. You were also like 4th in the NFL in total touchdowns. That kind of stands to reason. You build an offense with T.J. Hawkinson in mind. If you think Brandon Zylstra is that good, I got a bridge to sell you. So I do think it's probably a landing spot. I've had Luke Musgrave there for quite some time.
Okay.
In the second round.
Okay.
So I feel like Detroit has to be careful. They're almost in the spot of that could be the Bijan Robinson spot. And I know that sounds weird because they have Jamal Williams, who is a free agent, and DeAndre Swift, who you just can't trust to be healthy. Bijan's a luxury. And Detroit's kind of they're in that spot. I need some veterans on my defense. Just throwing 4 more rookies into that defense, I don't know that actually helps you all that much. You're close to a window where you're not just the best team in this division. You could be the best team in this division by quite a ways.
Right.
Because Chicago is bad. I'm out of insults. Green Bay with Jordan Love, not great. And Minnesota's not better than you. I just don't. So for me, I want to go vet on. I'm going to take my capital and do the most with it. I think they should trade out of 6, personally. If there's no Tyree Wilson there, that Jalen Ramsey deal comes up again. All right, I'm at 6, and I can take Devin Witherspoon, or I can go get Jalen Ramsey. I can push capital into further years, keep my team getting younger and better. And if there's a team that still needs a quarterback and one of them still sitting there at 6, and you got the Raiders picking at 7, I could see that being more of a trade spot than people want to let on.
Could there be? Would it be believed that they would take a quarterback?
No.
Could they float that out there that we'll take a quarterback in order to get somebody to trade up, whether it be the Las Vegas Raiders or the Carolina Panthers to get ahead of the Raiders?
No, it's an empty threat. If you start saying, hey, I'm going to take a quarterback, cool, they'll call Seattle because Seattle actively wants to trade out of there. They wanted Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. So Tyree Wilson is you're at 5. I think Detroit would be really happy with him. He fits Seattle better, but it's just opinions from teams that I hear around the league. I have to be careful adding too many young players to this team. Because that's what they've built this team through the draft.
Yes.
That's why it's so good. Because you got a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown that's making peanuts. He's one of the 10 best receivers in the league. I would be interested in bringing back DJ Chark, knowing I've still got Jamison Williams. That gives me 2 high flyers offensively. I add a tight end. I think they have the best offensive line in the league. So, I mean, Detroit's in great shape. You just have to know how many kids is too many kids. It's a question that Nick Cannon should have asked a long time ago.
Oh,
I told you I'm choosing violence today. Let's go.
Look at you.
I'm here. I choose violence. Let's go.
So you're looking to add veterans to the defense. Who are some free agent targets you think they should have?
Well, I mean, it depends on the Jalen Ramsey thing for me is there's a reason I keep mentioning that. The Rams are talking about, well, it's coming in the next few days. I don't know how many places that you have a relationship where you think that, and that's where reading the tea leaves. Brad Holmes came from the Rams. They obviously made the deal on Stafford. Now, what a difference 2 years makes. They could be the win now team that's going to get the piece from the Rams to give them some capital. If you don't do that, I would be in the market for a veteran corner. I mean, I know everybody gets up in arms about, well, Devin Witherspoon's so talented. Yeah, but I've done this. How many times do I have to draft a corner and hope that it works out?
Right.
I think he's a high-level player. But then you're talking about your top 4 corners are all 27 years old or younger. I'm not so sure that I feel warm and fuzzy about that. And I don't know that any of them are stars. I don't know any of them are a 1. So that's where I'm at. I want to go get some – I need a linebacker. I know definitively I need a linebacker. I need a space clogger in the middle.
Tremaine Edmonds.
That might be a little high on the linebacker scale because I think he's going to get too much money.
Okay.
And I'm not necessarily sure that he fits what they do so well. But I get where your head's at.
Just finding something. Just finding a cornerstone piece.
I need a leader of this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. And Alex Anzalone has done that reasonably nicely. The problem is that he doesn't have the talent to back it up.
The problem is he's Alex Anzalone.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fine player in this league.
Right.
But he's not the stud that I built my defense around. And, I mean, if it's Jalen Ramsey, if it's – you go 50 different paths with this. I need the guy, no matter who that is, and I want him to be an established veteran in this league. That's where I'm at with Detroit, is that you've almost drafted too well. And I know that sounds stupid when I say it. You've drafted so well, you've hit so many of these kids between Malcolm Rodriguez and Aiden Hutchinson and on and on and on. Now this team's so young that I almost feel like I don't want 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want 2 more rookie starters. And so that's the catch-22. Do you move one for an established veteran? Is there anybody that would be willing to make that move?
Question is, are you that close to contending?
I think so.
The Jalen Ramsey move would be a move that you would go, that's the last piece. To win a division,
not this year. In any other year, I would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get an all-pro level player, and Gage in the YouTube chat asked, is he still a top 5 corner? Yeah, I think he is. The only problem is that he's had sieves on the other side of him.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he has a tendency to, if you don't throw at him, he'll get a little bored, and then the next thing you know, he gets absolutely blistered.
Right.
I'm not so sure you could do that in Detroit, because I know Jeff Okudah hasn't been what you wanted him to be, but I think he's fine as a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that established 1, and now it's everybody goes down a spot, and now your talent is better.
Yeah.
Lance Dominguez said, I'm not sure Ramsey's worth a top 15 pick. Well, this one's at 18, and that's where I was headed. In a normal year, I would agree with you. This year, 18, you're getting a player that from sheer talent, you can probably get at 40 because it is deep. For the Rams, they're desperate. They don't pick till 36. So they're willing to come off a player to find some cheap talent to fill a hole for them.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's a perfect match. Just have to see if it happens.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and it is ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving is slow, 26 westbound west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway, 40 westbound in Haywood County, stop and go between NC 209 and US 276. NC Highway Patrol reporting an accident on the Smoky Park Highway northbound at Pisgah Highway. Not seeing any delays in the area at the moment. Hendersonville Road moving well. Sweeten Creek Road, light delays north and southbound near Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earn doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
They say everyone has a story to tell. Well, no one tells stories better than Audible. It's the home of living your best life. Intriguing true crimes. And celebrities you love, like John Hamm, Kerry Washington, and Kevin Hart. It's the home of new worlds, old worlds, and ways to make a better world. Audible, the home of storytelling. Audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Start a free trial at audible.com.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all.
iHeartRadio.
Access to all of your favorite radio stations.
It's Ryan Seacrest. I go by the name of Charlamagne the God.
Hi, I'm Ellen K.
Bobby Bones here. Hola, soy Enrique Santos.
Access to all of the best free curated playlists.
My favorite music. The best songs.
A little bit of everything.
Access to all of the great podcasts for every interest.
The Stuff You Should Know podcast. The Daily Show podcast.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. And best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. Download the absolutely free iHeartRadio app
Cleanliness
now.
is next to godliness. Look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA Choice and Prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com. It is the Sportsocracy, and we are live on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Hey, Jeremy, it looks like you're getting your wish, bud. The competition committee is taking up the discussion of the Bush Push.
Oh, I could have told you that was coming. Anything that works that well, you rest assured. Because it's eye broccoli to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they line up in a wing tee and just push Jalen Hurts into the end zone.
Per multiple reports, NFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations Troy Vincent said the competition committee has already discussed this Bush push play, or what do they call it? The quarterback push play, and are looking at whether or not it should stay in place. It's been quite a while since the rule was changed. For years and years and years, you could not aid the runner.
Do you know when that rule changed?
2006.
That's what I found that out the last time we talked about this.
Right, like 2006. It's been that long. It feels like forever ago. It feels like it was just recently that this all changed.
That was probably after Reggie Bush cost me a down payment on a small house.
Oh, most definitely.
Thanks for that.
Most definitely. But this is becoming a bigger and bigger part of the game as coaches figure out, oh, you mean we could just put three dudes behind the quarterback and push him into the end zone? Sure, let's do that. And in fact, it got a little bit more, attention when Sean Payton said just a few weeks ago that, yeah, if we're going to keep doing that, I'm going to do it every time.
Yeah. Well, that's what Philadelphia basically said this year. Okay, every and one, you can just assume.
Yep.
Not gonna mess with a handoff, direct snap to the quarterback, and we're just gonna let three gigantic humans push him forward.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest fear is that the reason it wasn't allowed for the longest time is because you get somebody hurt, and that's been my fear with it forever. Then you add on the layer that they'll never admit of this is just not palatable to watch.
No.
We don't want to watch rugby scrums on 3rd and 1 that nobody can stop. Good for the NFL.
Yeah.
There's a reason you're king, and that's because you see things wrong with your sport and you fix them.
That's right.
Unlike the NBA, which is just basically glorified all-star games every night. 178 to 176.
Yikes.
We had that the other night.
That was so gross.
It was awesome. As somebody that had the over in that game,
that was a big winner for you. It is the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Daily Draft is coming up after the Sports Center update. It'll be stock up, stock down from the weekend. Plus, we'll talk free agent safeties coming up in the next hour as well. Stick with us.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
High wind warnings up until midnight tonight. The higher elevations to the west of Asheville. It's been a blustery day today with south winds. Our temperatures in the upper 40s tonight with a few showers, breezy weather out there. Sunshine Tuesday, high 70 degrees, low 44. Mid-70s Wednesday to kick off the new month. Then rain showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the upper 60s. Kind of a stormy start to March. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving is slow, 26 westbound west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound in Haywood County, stop and go between NC 209 and US 276. NC Highway Patrol reporting an accident on the Smoky Park Highway northbound at Pisgah Highway. Not seeing any delays in the area at the moment. Hendersonville Road moving well. Sweeten Creek Road, light delays north and southbound near Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new Crispy Melt Taco is now at Taco Bell. It's a freshly fried shell with a melty cheese blend and your choice of seasoned beef or black beans inside. Try it today at participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra. Staples Print and Marketing Services helps small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends 4/15. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where your prints are perfect guaranteed.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The Sportsocracy.
Gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Like with the Colts, quarterback Carson Wentz's Commanders' tenure lasted just one season. Washington, in a move that had been long anticipated, released Wentz, who had a rough 2022 season in D.C. The Commanders saved $26 million on the salary cap with the move. Might there be a blockbuster trade before this year's NFL draft? The Bears are leaning toward trading the number one overall pick, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Chicago's been approached by multiple organizations about that pick. Last month, GM Ryan Poles reaffirmed his commitment to quarterback Justin Fields. In reality, trading Fields was never in the cards for Chicago, believes our Keyshawn Johnson.
Chicago needs people around him. They need to build just like the Eagles did for Jalen Hurts. He's a little bit bigger than Jalen Hurts, but same sort of skill set, same sort of locker room leadership. There was no way in the world that they was getting ready to move on from Justin Fields.
Key of Keyshawn, J. and Max. Freshman standout Keontae George out for 7th-ranked Baylor against Oklahoma State tonight because of a right ankle sprain. Coverage at 9 Eastern on ESPN TV.
Need to spring back into hiring season? You need Indeed, the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We are heard live in the Ingles studio, everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, and seen everywhere you go on your smartphone or other device. On YouTube, just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. You can also join the House of Reprehensibles. Just a meager $2.99 a month fee just to show your support for the Sportsocracy and all of the content that we keep churning out for you here each and every day. We got 3-round team-by-team mock drafts.
It is Draftmas season.
Yes. Coming this week with Combine coming up this weekend.
Oh, we got a lot of Combine stuff too. We will not be here tomorrow. Unfortunately, we have somewhere else to be that we cannot be here with you. Wednesday, we will do a nice Combine preview of. There are about 8 guys that could run sub 4.3. I mean, that's what the Combine is.
Right. See,
very few people sit around and watch the actual reps the way I do.
No.
I won't miss 1 second of it.
I'm sure you won't.
It will all be DVR'd, lovely waiting for me when I get home.
And the rest of us will sit around and go, ooh, who's faster?
Yes.
Because it's the only thing we care about.
Hey, you got a lot this year. You got a lot. The Combine will be fun this year.
A lot of speedsters in the draft. Okay.
Some at very interesting positions.
Interestingly enough, yes, we'll have all of your Draftmas and Combine coverage right here in the Sportsocracy but again, we'll not be with you tomorrow afternoon. We know that screws with your afternoon plans, but it can't be avoided. So, anyhow.
I can physically not be in two places at one time.
Yes. It is time for the Daily Draft here in the Sportsocracy, top of the third hour of the program. We always do it, and it's always on a Monday. Stock up, stock down from the weekend. And, Jeremy, you have the first pick.
And I've been waiting to say this forever. Stock down, YouTube Vine sensation Jake Paul. You finally faced an actual boxer, and you got smoked.
Yes. It was not good. Look, I watched it. I watched the fight.
Why did you watch this?
Because it was on my television, and I went, yeah, we'll watch it just to see, because this is the first time. This is the first time that he has faced an actual boxer. Of course, that boxer came in the form of, a guy who's 4-0, I believe it was, coming into this fight in his boxing career. Not necessarily the greatest of opponents, not necessarily one of the highest-end boxers that you've ever seen, but he's a name.
By the way, he's 9-0.
Is he 9-0? Okay, 9-0. I knew it wasn't very many fights that he had under his belt. Tommy Fury, the brother of heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, he outboxed Jake Paul. And
it wasn't even that close. I mean, I went back and watched it. I absolutely refuse to. You're ruining boxing, and I love boxing, and I absolutely loved every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And I don't think it will be the last time he loses. I don't think he's very good at this. I never have. And I really genuinely believe if you put him in the ring with a high-end boxer, he might get killed on television.
Could possibly happen.
It is the technique. I mean, and I'm not going to sit here and bore you with the technique of boxing, but as somebody that grew up loving this sport, I watched Jake Paul, and you know how I feel when people say things are rigged.
Mm-hmm.
I have actively wondered that. There is no way that some of these fighters, and I understand they're MMA fighters and we're boxing, I get it. Some of these things just don't make any sense. Jake Paul has no technique whatsoever. It is straight power. That's all he has.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are a lot of guys in this world that can punch hard. There's a reason that you don't see many of them become high-level boxers. Mike Tyson lived off of it, but that's because the actual compression of a Mike Tyson shot was very similar to a car wreck.
Right.
So I'm glad it happened. I hope that we can stop with this.
No chance. No chance.
I just hope people will stop watching it. You're taking away from legit. There are fighters that would kill to have had this opportunity, that have done this their entire lives. But you know what they don't have? 10 million followers on TikTok.
Right.
So I watched it. It drives me crazy.
What was the belt that they gave away at the end of it?
I don't care.
They gave away some belt at the end of this match.
At this point in boxing, everybody has a belt.
Right.
And nobody should care about virtually any of them.
Right. I don't know I don't remember the name that was on the belt, but it was like, is this like a regional belt that you're just giving away for this district that you're in Saudi Arabia? I have no idea.
And I'm not going to say that there's not talent. It's just I'm watching Jake Paul get all of these opportunities solely because of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's got followers and gets likes.
Because he sells.
To me, it is what is wrong with the sport of boxing. And I could go on about this for an hour of the 5-pronged demon that killed boxing. That started back in the mid-'90s, and it has deteriorated since. But to me, Jake Paul is the end of it. And go away. Go away, YouTube boy.
Go away is what he says.
It is infuriating to me that there are so many good boxers that are technically sound that couldn't get 50 people to watch their fights, and yet 1-5 will line up to pay, I don't even know how much that fight was.
It was like $50
for Jake Paul
in
a fight that was, I'm going to level with you, hard to watch at times.
Absolutely.
You don't often see each fighter get docked a point, both for that were quite questionable. But and you had a judge that one of the judges gave it to Jake Paul, and that person needs to never be a judge ever again. They are actively intoxicated.
Yeah, it was quite obvious that Jake Paul was out of his league against Tommy Fury.
He's just not a boxer.
In the boxing ring, and Tommy Fury's not that good. That's the thing.
I think Tommy Fury's fine.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody wants to make Jake Paul out to be this next up-and-coming boxer. No, he's got a whole bunch of TikTok followers, and you're enamored with the celebrity.
Well, I mean, and I like Dave Portnoy, but he said, Jake Paul's a future champion in this sport. No, he is not.
No, he's not, and that fight with Tommy Fury absolutely proved it. All right, it's already time to do this. We're only a game in, but it's time to go. Stock down for Major League Baseball because they got the pitch clock this year, and we all begged for it. Well, not really begged for it, but
I mean, nobody begs for anything in baseball except for it to stop.
We've all begged for shorter games in Major League Baseball, and you can do that by instituting the pitch clock. The problem that Major League Baseball has now run into is that they had the first game that was decided by the pitch clock. The Atlanta Braves were facing my Boston Red Sox on Saturday. It was a 6-6 game with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth inning. It was a 3-2 count on I don't even remember who was at plate. Cal Conley.
I was about to say, it's not like anybody would know.
No, I mean,
you could have made up a name.
Right.
You could have said Cal Naughton Jr. right there, and most people would have gone, hey, that's a guy from Talladega Nights.
This is a guy probably not going to make the roster. I'm not deep into the baseball, but into the Braves roster, but I'm pretty sure this kid's way down the pecking order. 3-2 count, and here's the rule with the pitch count or the pitch clock. Once the pitcher is set and ready to go, you have 8 seconds left on the clock, the pitch clock, the 21-second pitch clock, that the batter has to be 2 feet into the batter's box, or else it's an automatic strike.
Do you see how long it took you just to explain this?
Yes.
That's baseball's greatest downfall. Because I would say this is actually a positive. I'd have said stock up for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been, well, nobody cares that they sit around for 3 hours. You're talking about the person in the stadium. Nobody gives anything about whoever's in the stadium. I had like 7 ways to finish that sentence, and 6 of them were bad.
Yep. Look, this is a stock down for Major League Baseball because everybody lost their minds over this. Mm-hmm. This was just the PR move that you didn't need. For the first time for this to be implemented, you had the game riding on it.
You're missing 2 very, very important words here.
What's that?
Spring training.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. Look, I'm the conspiracy theorist, and I'll go ahead and tell you, this is a stock up for me. It's my next stock up. Mm-hmm. I'll skip it to do it right here.
Okay.
They did. I would almost promise you, they told these umpires, you're going to have to get one of these. You're going to have to get it early.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to enforce this.
Yes.
There is nothing that we will watch for 3.5 hours. Nothing. When they did this in minor league baseball, it sped the games up 25 minutes. That at least gives you a puncher's chance of keeping an audience. It's not a great one, and you're not going to have a great audience.
Mm-hmm.
But happy day. You found a way to speed this up, and I'm here for it.
So you're going stock up,
yes,
for Major League Baseball
because it's in a game that nobody cares. You didn't even know who the player was. This will be forgotten in a week. That's exactly why they did this. I guarantee you, there was a meeting with the umpires that went, first shot you get to do this, do it. Swallow the frog now. We won't have to do this when. Well, you could have done this in the next 7 months, and nobody would have particularly cared. You got to get the outrage before the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we care about.
Mm-hmm.
We'll work the bugs out. Spring training is the test. I don't care if a game ends this way.
Right.
Good for you.
It was here's the thing. It was bad for baseball that they had all of the people on social media losing their minds and making fun of baseball for it. I'm not against it, though. I'm really not.
Did it get you talking about baseball?
Of course it did.
There you go.
Oh, you think that was the plan?
Sure do.
Okay. All right. I do not. I feel like this was just, we're going to enforce the rule, and them's the breaks. Mr. Conley, whoever you are, whatever you're going to be doing another 3 weeks from now.
Would it have happened in Game 7 of the World Series?
I don't.
No. The answer is no.
I don't
The
agree.
answer is no.
I don't agree with you.
This is marketing 101.
If
you implement something that has a problem, swallow the frog when nobody cares. Do it in beta testing. That's exactly what you're getting right here. The beta test was actually minor league. This is showing it to the public. Well, here's the thing. It's an action figure, and its arm falls off.
Right.
So go ahead and rip that bad boy off so you can see it.
Former Red Sox catcher Kevin Plawecki went on social media to say what a damn joke this was, and I disagree. If the rule is in place that you have to be in the box, the umpires have to live by the rule. I was happy to see that they actually stuck with it. Do we want to see a baseball game in that way? No, not necessarily, but we take it from other sports. Think about the 10-second runoff rule in the NFL. If the offense does something late in the game, intentional grounding or a holding or whatever on the last play, or there's few seconds left, you got the 10-second runoff, game's over, you don't have a shot. That's exactly what happened to the Braves.
The thing that drives me crazy about the baseball purist is that they don't realize we don't give a damn what you think. You're here anyway. You're here for Kevin Plawecki or whatever his name is. You're here for 162 anyway.
Right.
99.9% of people aren't here for 2. We're pandering to them, not to you.
All right, and then my next stock down for the weekend, it's Liv Golf. Did you see the ratings? Did you see the overnight rating for Liv Golf on the CW?
Nope.
0.2. They got a 0.2. They were out. They were outrated by world's funniest animals,
and yet they still beat Monty Jones. Sorry, you know what?
Oh my gosh!
I tell you,
no holds barred today.
I'm telling you, violence. I choose violence.
Obviously, not everybody got it on the CW, so it's a limited market size.
Who cares? That's my biggest thing.
It's bad news. I feel like it's bad news.
Okay, what's going to happen? So that's the thing with bad news is it has to yield something. So what's going to happen? They hemorrhaged money last year. Hemorrhaged it. They don't care. They aired this on YouTube last year. They don't care about the rating. If they cared about the rating, they would have settled for less for something that's in more homes. If you gave me $1,000 right now to tell you on my television where to find CW, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
No.
I'd have to just sit there and flip through channels until I saw golf. I've got no clue. And I want you to think about this. If it was that big a deal, would they have not made their own streaming service? Everybody else does. All you got to do is download it for $0. If they really cared about eyes. They don't. They're building to something. I figured this out 6 months ago. This ain't about competitive golf. This is about getting into a lawsuit with the PGA. They're doing the same thing in their little battle that I'm doing today. They are choosing violence at every turn. I don't care if you watch us because, frankly, I'm a golf purist, and I don't watch it. I love golf. That's my Sunday ritual is to sit around and watch golf with Jim Nance. I don't watch it. I'm their target demo. I don't watch it. We talk about it because it's interesting.
Right.
And then you'll talk about it when they get to the majors. That's all they care about. This is limitless supplies of money. This is bottomless pockets of money. They don't care.
They just keep churning. They'll just keep churning regardless of if anybody's watching.
I didn't say it was a great business model. Okay. It's just the one that they've made very clear that they have.
And that's the only point I come to is if you've built this, you want to get the eyeballs. You want to have people attracted to your product, and it just doesn't look like anybody's attracted to it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is all part of a grander plan of their lawsuit against the PGA. You're doing this to us. It's going to be an antitrust monopoly suit, and they're probably going to win it. That's where I think this is headed, because that's where the money's at. Because secret time, golf don't make money. It outside of 4 majors a year, and I could argue one of those doesn't make as much as you think it does. Augusta makes money. The PGA makes money. The U.S. Open makes money. Other than that, it's not as much as you think.
You're in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. The Daily Draft continues next.
On the new ESPN Asheville.
By delays, 26 westbound approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound stop and go between the 26-240 split and Smoky Park Highway. 40 westbound in Haywood County stop and go between NC 209 and US 276. On the Smoky Park Highway southbound approaching Sand Hill Road, traffic is slowing. Hendersonville Road moving well. Sweeten Creek Road, no delays. Checking the drive time from downtown Asheville to Asheville Regional Airport via 240 westbound and 26 eastbound. Drive time 19 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new Crispy Melt Taco is now at Taco Bell. It's a freshly fried shell with a melty cheese blend and your choice of seasoned beef or black beans inside. Try it today at participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
We are back on the Sportsocracy, and it's continuing the daily draft. Stock up, stock down from the weekend. Jeremy started it off with stock down for Jake Paul. Hopefully that's over. Well, for the most part. He'll still fight.
Oh, yeah. I just hope people will stop watching it.
They'll still have the rematch fight between him and Tommy Fury. He'll still have celebrity boxing matchups. But I think that's where this goes. I think this is where this goes. This was
I just hope it stops he's a future champion.
Yeah, no, that's not good. No. Yeah, no, that was proven without a shadow of a doubt. My first pick was a stock down for Major League Baseball, the PR hit that they took from the automatic called strike 3 in a tie game in the bottom of the 9th inning between the Red Sox and the Braves. I get it, spring training. But you didn't need that. You didn't need to have the number one story about baseball this weekend be something that people are making fun of.
Well, it's better than the number one story about baseball being, they're playing baseball.
Jeremy actually went stock up. for Major League Baseball on that one for sticking to the rule as it is in the rule books. Again, I have no problem with it. We do this in other sports. Games can end on penalties all the time. I got no problem with it.
Well, I mean, baseball's just at an impasse of you now have zero star power. None. There are probably not 5 names that the average sports fan could name in Major League Baseball. So you're going to have to get cute somehow to have any form of eyeballs. And getting away from the purists is the quickest way to do that.
I also went stock down for the LIV. They did not pull in many eyeballs on the CW this weekend with their season opening tournament. 0.2. That's a bad number. When you get outrated by world's funniest animals, that's a bad sign to me.
Frankly, I think they got outrated by us, so it's fine.
They may have. All right, Jeremy, so 2 in the books. You got 1 before it comes back to me.
College basketball. You are the gross winner of the weekend.
Okay.
4 buzzer beaters. 2 of them from half court. It's a real good way to poke a little enthusiasm into the start of your conference tournaments.
Absolutely. Announce your presence with authority here.
And it seems like the NCAA does this every year. You'll have a weekend like this past weekend where you get a ton of clicks, you get a ton of eyes. And then for the 2 weeks of the tournament, we're locked in spite of the fact we, in large part, do not know players. At this point, players stick around for such a little period of time. There are high-level teams, and you don't know anybody that's playing for them.
Right.
So you need things like this.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. How about them Seminoles?
Oh, the big comeback against Miami.
It's okay. Miami in an 11-minute period in 2 separate runs outscored Florida State 36-4 and lost. Let's go.
I do feel bad for your West Virginia Mountaineers. I thought I thought they had a real shot at beating Kansas.
That's not the first time they've done that.
And couldn't get a shot. Like, how do you not get a shot off? You got 18 seconds on the clock.
That is the most undisciplined team I think I've ever seen in my life.
They're not great.
I mean, Bob Huggins is how in the world you're still hanging on? I mean, because frankly, I can't watch this team. I'm 35 years old. Bob's almost 70. And this is just that is the most stressful team I've ever watched.
All right, my stock up for the weekend. First one here, I had a stock down with Major League Baseball and the PR hit from the called third strike. Stock down for LIV. I'm going stock up for Kyle Busch, my guy. My favorite driver on the NASCAR circuit. He got a win at the Auto Club Speedway, Fontana, California. It was the last race at that track, and it was a great backdrop for it. It had snowed like 5 feet up in the upper elevations, and so you had just the aesthetics of the track with the snow-covered mountains in the background was phenomenal. The race was really good. Kyle Busch ends up as the winner of the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300, and he set a new record. He now has the most consecutive seasons with a victory in NASCAR history. 19 consecutive seasons, Kyle Busch has pulled in at least 1 win on the season, and that broke the record, or the tie for the record that he had with Richard Petty.
I'm trying to figure out who my favorite driver on the NASCAR circuit is. Cole Trickle? Ricky Bobby? Cal Naughton Jr.? None of them?
None of them. No. All right, Kyle Busch is stock up for the weekend. And you know what? I think I'm going stock down for just that gross NBA game that we had the other night. 178 to 175. I didn't even have to watch the game just to go, yeah, I'm not interested in seeing that. I remember my dad took me to a game one time between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Charlotte Hornets. And I think that game went 2 overtimes, and it was like 132 to 129 at the end of it. And that was too much. This was a regulation game. And they scored 250 points between the two teams. More than that.
It was awful. It was awful. Awful.
How do you sell that? Like, that's why we don't watch the All-Star game. Yet here you have two teams doing it in a regular season game. That's supposed to mean something.
Yeah,
this is why I just can't get on board.
I can't do it.
I can't get on board for no defense.
But I can do it in the playoffs. When you actually get to a point where the games matter. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but the problem is they're going to play defense in the playoffs.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's why I can get on board with the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
I can be interested in the NBA when we get to the play. Now, that stupid play-in tournament, get somewhere with that, okay? 20 of your 30 teams make the playoffs, get out of here. But once we get into the conference semifinals, conference finals, NBA finals, I can watch that. But that was a joke. I'm going another stock down for the Green Bay Packers quarterback that was replaced by the current Captain Hiawaska, whose name shall not be mentioned on the show because he seems to want to sue everybody that says his name. That might be the most tone-deaf human I've ever seen in my life. If you haven't read the criminal filing of, you're not actually disputing that any of these things happened. And apparently you don't understand what libel and things like that are based in. A, they have to be false. B, they have to be malicious. And C, they have to know the first two of those things. I think you're going to struggle to prove that. And the big thing, you just opened yourself up because, see, here's the thing. There's this whole process of a trial like this that's called discovery. Do you think Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee don't have lawyers that are just going, here we go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Because it might be worse than you think. I don't know anything. I'm just a regular guy.
Right.
Just reading the tea leaves.
Right.
My other one's a stock down too, and it's for the Pac-12. The Pac-12
again?
The Pac-12 has literally, I feel like they've taken 58 losses in a row. A report is out today that now the Big Ten is going to chase Oregon and Washington, which would leave them Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal, which would leave them with 4 teams. No wonder you can't sell your media.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because it would be kind of hard to convince me to watch Oregon State and Utah 3 times a year.
All right, final pick, stock up, stock down from the weekend. I got to go stock down for Commandos fans. It's not anything Commandos fans did. It's just we were talking about the sale of this team last week. Late last week, I gave you the story that Jeff Bezos had hired a firm to look into purchasing the team from Daniel Snyder. Well, the story came out on Saturday that actually Daniel Snyder has banned Jeff Bezos from buying this team.
And he doesn't have the power to do that.
He can't do that?
The NFL has to vet anyone that buys the team. They don't have to vet anybody. They're punkin'. And if you think they're not going to find a way to oust you, I got a bridge to sell you. I've actually been told that story is completely false.
Really?
Yes. That at this point, Daniel Snyder really doesn't care. It's all about the money, but he's not dead set that he's selling the team.
Okay.
I can't confirm that. I have just been told that by people that would know more than I would.
The Athletic and the New York Post both reporting that Daniel Snyder has reached out to Bank of America, who's handling the possible sale of this, to tell them they do not take a bid from Jeff Bezos. Now, is that just lip service? Is he trying to hold Bezos to give more money? Is that what this is about?
It's entirely possible.
Is this what he's like, I'm not going to let you bid unless you
overpay.
Right, unless you want to give me the $7 billion I was looking for.
This is what petty people do. He feels like the Washington Post, which Jeff Bezos owns, has taken great joy in forcing him to sell his team.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be shocked if it's, well, Jeff can't bid, and then Jeff comes in and goes, $8 billion.
Right.
You're going to shoot down an extra $1 billion?
Right.
Because I'll believe you when you do it.
The original asking price was $7 billion. They've gone through the initial bid phase, and some reports say that the highest bid came in at 6.3. There are other sources that say Actually, they didn't even get $6 billion.
I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't get $6 billion
for that team. So it's valued.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's valued by Forbes right now to be $5.6 billion.
And there is no stadium deal in place.
Right.
So, and you're in a weird spot because this could be in Maryland. It could be in the district. The chances of being in the district are very small. But so you're trying to get a lot of moving pieces together because this is 3 states of government. So it's not quite as attractive as everybody makes it out to be.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Most important message of the day. We'll be right after this.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
High wind warnings up until midnight tonight. The higher elevations to the west of Asheville. It's been a blustery day today with south winds. Our temperatures in the upper 40s tonight with a few showers, breezy weather out there. Sunshine Tuesday, high 70 degrees, low 44. Mid-70s Wednesday to kick off the new month. Then rain showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the upper 60s. Kind of a stormy start to March. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. Future 26 eastbound slow between Riverside Drive and 240. Future 26 westbound slow approaching Elk Mountain Road. 26 westbound slowing approaching Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between the French Broad River and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound delays between the 26-240 split and Smoky Park Highway. 40 westbound, then stop and go between NC 209 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow approaching Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new Crispy Melt Taco is now at Taco Bell. It's a freshly fried shell with a melty cheese blend and your choice of seasoned beef or black beans inside. Try it today at participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
On the free iHeartRadio app, you never pay to hear what you love, and you never wait to hear what you want. Save your money, save your time, and listen anywhere. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
The madness starts this week. It's college basketball tournament week on News Radio 570, WWNC, and ESPN Asheville. We get it started Friday at 11:30 on ESPN Asheville with the Bulldogs opening game in the Big South tournament from Charlotte. The Southern Conference tournament gets rolling on Saturday on ESPN Asheville with quarterfinal action and continuing on News Radio 570, WWNC through Sunday. So tune in this weekend to catch all the action. Our Big South and SoCon tournament coverage is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Time for the most important message of the day here in the Sportsocracy.
Don't do crimes.
Let's go to Chaska, Minnesota.
Not only do I like the cut of your jib, I like the names of your town.
Chaska, Minnesota. A guy got drunk on Friday.
As you do.
As you do in Chaska, Minnesota. Never heard of it before. I would imagine there's not a whole lot to do in Chaska, Minnesota, other than get drunk. And according to police, the extremely drunk motorist was, well, I mean, as you do, you get drunk, and then where you want to go?
Waffle House.
Well, you want to go get some food of some kind. And this guy decided he wanted to go to Arby's. Because he
must have been hammered.
He just needed some curly fries to soak up all that alcohol.
They should have taken him to the hospital to make sure that he was
hey, you don't
not
know.
going to die.
Look, maybe in Chaska, Minnesota, Arby's is like the Ruth's Chris of dining establishments.
Arby's wouldn't be the Ruth's Chris in Antarctica. If you were 40 miles from the nearest payphone, it would not be Ruth's Chris.
Well, the 43-year-old man decided that after he had pitched his drunk that he needed to go get some curly fries. Well, that is when an observant patron noticed that the guy had passed out behind the wheel of his car and was able to open the driver's door and shift the vehicle into park, likely preventing any damage to property and injury to others. Arby's is not really known as the late-night hotspot, right?
I don't think it's known as a hotspot, period, unless it's on fire. Then it might be a hotspot.
Yeah.
Maybe it's next to a hotspot.
This guy, according to police, had apparently been binge drinking Bones Farm.
No wonder.
And was so extremely intoxicated that he passed out behind the wheel in the drive-thru of the Arby's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, all right, that's
right.
All right, at Boone's Farm, I probably could have told you where that was headed. Oh yeah, this dude didn't make it to lunch. He was doing out the bottles at about 9 a.m.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the afternoon is when this guy got busted, and he was too drunk to do the test. Like, they tried to do the sobriety test. They were like, okay, we can't do it with this guy. It's just not working.
Fail. It's kind of like the SATs. If you spell your name wrong, if you can't stand up, that's just an automatic failure.
Although this is now this is now got to be it. This is the banger matchup: Boone's Farm and curly fries.
I'm out on the Boone's Farm. Does the name Jennifer McBride ring a bell to you?
No.
You remember about a year ago, there was the case of Lady Gaga's stolen dogs.
Okay.
She had 3 dogs, and her assistant, whose name was Ryan Fisher, was walking them. 2 people come out of a van. They shoot him. He winds up in the hospital. They steal the dogs. Lady Gaga says, I will give $500,000 to whoever returns these dogs. No questions asked.
Okay.
Jennifer McBride is who returned them to a Los Angeles Police Department station. There's only one problem with that. She was one of the ones that kidnapped them.
Oh, no.
She's suing Lady Gaga for $1.5 million because she didn't pay the reward. I'm not making this up.
She did say no questions
She
asked.
stole the dog. She returned the dog, was arrested for doing so, and is now suing the person who she stole the dogs from.
She did say no questions asked.
See, this is all right. I have 2 lifelong goals in my life. One, I want to get into politics because I want to be the first elected mayor. 2, I want to spend 1 day as a judge. And I don't care if that is on some crappy reality show where I actually have no power. I just want to put on a robe and tell people how stupid the things they say are. Because if this came into my court, 5 years in jail. Wasting the court's time. That's not a crime. It is now. How do you do that? How do you go to an attorney and go, I committed a felony and shot someone, and now I want the reward money for returning the thing that I stole?
Got to be careful how you say things.
I don't care how she said it. You stole them.
I also returned them as she asked. Now where's my money?
Yeah, it's not quite that cut and dry. There's some legalese in there.
Yeah, maybe so. You're in the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville.
Hold up before we. I didn't notice this the first time I read it. In Miss McBride's lawsuit, She claims pain and suffering, mental anguish, and loss of employment as a result of not having the $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it possible, just maybe, that your employment comes from the fact you shot somebody? Oh, serenity now. Serenity now.
We got another position group to look at in the free agency period in the NFL. Let's talk about safeties. There's quite a few decent safeties that are available.
Well, if you're after Jordan Poyer, I hope you're in warm weather with low tax.
Is that what he's looking for?
He did a podcast that said it'd be really nice if I could play in a state where they didn't take half my money.
Ooh.
And I saw the sun for 4 months at a time.
Well, hot. Here comes Houston Texans, Jordan Poyer.
No, I heard that and went, that feels like Miami Dolphins, Jordan Poyer.
Oh, okay. Jordan Poyer and Jawaan Holland.
That'd be evil.
That'd be a hard-hitting safety tandem.
For the 6 games a year that Jordan Poyer played. He also didn't rule out a return to Buffalo, which has neither of those things.
Well, I mean, it's the devil you know.
Absolutely.
Jesse Bates is the number one.
Jesse Bates is the no doubt number one.
But he's going to be franchise tagged, or could
Not
be
necessarily.
by the Cincinnati Bengals.
There seems to be a lot coming out of Cincinnati. They're just going to let him walk. I don't know how you do that, but Cincinnati's in a weird situation because you have some rather large checks impending. So, I mean, I guess I get it. You'll get a 3rd-round pick for him because they're not going to be heavy on the free agency market. So that would keep you on the right side of that. And I guess I get it. I'm just not a fan of allowing 1,000-snap, every game starters that are that good to just walk away.
Mm-hmm. Well, your only other option is to what? Tag him and trade him? And then what are you going to get?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
He wasn't as good this year as you would want him to be, and I get it.
But they also franchise tagged him last year.
They did.
So now
he would be incredibly expensive.
Right. Not only do you have to tag him and pay him the 5%, the top 5 average salary at his position, but you also have to pay 20% more for the second time you franchise tag the guy. So we could see a path where Jesse Bates just hits the open market, and if that happens, where's his contract land?
If I had to guess, he made 13 last year. I would probably say he falls, if he signs with somebody else, probably in the 5-year, $70 million range, which is just, that's rich for a safety.
Mm-hmm.
That's rich for a safety in this day and time. No Smiles in our YouTube comment said Bates to the Falcons. That wouldn't shock me in the least. You've got 2 teams that have really high-level money. Now, there will be maneuvering. Washington saved $26 million on Carson Wentz today.
Mm-hmm.
So there are places. Washington is a place that I would really like Jesse Bates to. But if they let him hit the open market, he's going to get paid. I don't care about this year.
All right, so is it Jesse Bates 1, Jordan Poyer 2?
I would say so. And then there's I would say a pretty significant drop-off to Jimmy Ward. Just only because I don't know what he is at this point. I know he wants to be a safety. I'm not so sure that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Shanahan basically told him point blank, you're either going to play in the slot or you're not going to play. That's kind of a damning statement from a coach that's been with you this long. I know the Jets are interested. I've heard it as much as anybody else has. And I'm trying to get excited about it, but I can't.
Why not?
Because it feels like a Jetty thing that they would end up giving him, I don't know, 2 for $20. And he comes in and it's LaMarcus Joyner 2.0
Mm-hmm.
of just, I think he's one of those move pieces now. But I'm not so sure he views himself that way. Those to me are the scariest players to, and I like Jimmy Ward's game. I need to preface what I'm going to say with that. It always makes me nervous when a player thinks they're one thing coming into free agency because somebody's going to offer it to them. And I think Kyle Shanahan and D'Amico Ryans 2 pretty bright guys, and they would refuse to play him at deep safety.
Mm-hmm.
I know they had other players. I get it, but a little scary to me.
And what would Rob Salah pay?
I don't. 2 for $20. I think that's what his deal's going to look like.
Okay.
2 for $16, somewhere in that neighborhood. He's 30. He'll be 32 years old by the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get into a lot of Von Bell.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson's not going anywhere. He's coming back to Philadelphia. I just don't know what it's going to cost.
Okay.
He fits that defense too well. And there's going to be a lot of turnover there. I feel like that's one they're going to prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's so young, and he does fit really, really nicely.
Yep.
And then from there, it's a lot of Terrell Edmonds, Kareem Jackson, Jabril Peppers. You remember when people thought he was going to be a thing?
Oh, yeah. Loved him coming out of college.
I did not.
I did.
I did not.
I thought he was going to be something special, and then, maybe not.
He
had a couple of games. He's had a couple of games.
I thought he would be largely what he has been in the NFL. Man, you're hyper athletic, but you don't actually have a position.
Mm-hmm.
And when you haven't figured that out by 22 years old, it's kind of hard for me to believe you're going to find it out by 28, which is what he is now.
Right. All right, you're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Look, I feel like if you need a safety, there's a decent class.
Taylor Rapp, that's another one we didn't mention.
Yeah, Taylor Rapp.
Because the Rams are not going to be able to afford to keep him. It's not a huge money play, but it could be a nice piece to round out a defense.
Mm-hmm. Whole lot of slot fillers.
Yes.
In the safety class of this 2023 offseason. We'll be back right after this here in the Ingles Studio to wrap it up for a Monday.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. Future 26 eastbound slowing between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 westbound slowing approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound light delays between the 26-240 split and Smoky Park Highway. Haywood County 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue north and southbound near Edgewood Road, traffic is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mill.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new Crispy Melt Taco is now at Taco Bell. It's a freshly fried shell with a melty cheese blend and your choice of seasoned beef or black beans inside. Try it today at participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
This week on the Marketer's Report, Patrizio Spagnoletto, Global Chief Marketing Officer, Direct-to-Consumer for Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on building trust.
Trust is a really hard thing to build and a really easy thing to destroy, and we have to be very respectful about that. Our partnership with iHeart has really helped us build that trust and that relationship with the on-air talent.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives you access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the data you need to grow. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You used to associate crickets with silence. But since you bought a house in the suburbs, you know crickets hate silence. If any other creature realized rubbing its legs together made a piercing, high-pitched noise, they might think, maybe I won't do that. Constantly. All night long. Luckily, you can save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. Now that's something to make noise about. Just not constantly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Just a few moments left in the show today. We will not be with you tomorrow. We have prior engagement that needs our attention, and that's all we'll say about that. But we will be back with you on Wednesday. And Wednesday is going to be the full launch of the draft in the season, as we'll get you prepared for the NFL Combine that starts on Thursday up in Indianapolis.
And since we're going to be gone for 48 hours, this feels like the perfect time to say, for the next 2 weeks, you should trust absolutely nothing that you hear. If you didn't hear it come out of somebody's mouth directly, and I'm not talking like us, we'll cull through as much of that as we can.
Mm-hmm.
You will hear some of the most nonsensical things in the next 2 weeks. We call this the season of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that. Because anything you hear, ask yourself one question. Who wants you to know that?
You got teams lying about or leaking things that may not be true about stars, trying to throw the smoke screen maybe to whoever's drafting around them. We've already got today the news coming out about players who will and will not participate at the Combine. Bryce Young will not be participating. He will not be throwing at the Combine. He'll be there to take place in or to take participation in all of the other things, the interviews and such, but he will not be throwing at the Combine.
Jalen Carter is in the same spot.
Right. Jalen Carter, the star defensive tackle from the Georgia Bulldogs.
Tyree Wilson will not be ready. He will do all of the things at his pro day. And J.L. Skinner, who's a day 2 safety for Boise State, was hurt over the weekend, and so he will not participate at the Combine.
Right. C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson all have confirmed that they will be throwing at the Combine on Saturday.
Which means it could be a show. Because all 3 of those guys could be a lot of fun to watch.
But is it not always going to be a show at the Combine?
Not always, because you get a lot of guys that don't necessarily have live ball Combine arms. That's 3 that do. That's 3 that I could genuinely see blowing the Combine out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, that's going to make Draftmas just a whole lot more interesting.
Indeed. The festivities up in Indianapolis, what they get going, or the workouts anyway, get going Thursday afternoon. So we will have live updates and such for you throughout the program on Thursday and Friday of this week. It's going to be phenomenal. It's also Conference Championship week. Well, Conference Championship weeks begins this week. We'll have the SoCon tournament. Obviously, you can still get your discounted tickets for the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships at your local Ingles store until, through March 1st. You can get discounted tickets, and then you'll have to go to the box office at the Harris-Cherokee Center, Asheville, for all of the action. Men's tournament gets started Friday evening. We will be broadcasting from the Harris-Cherokee Center, Asheville, on Monday.
And I will be there off and on all weekend.
Indeed. It's going to be fun. We also got UNC Asheville in contention for the Big South Championship, and switch it over right now to News Radio 570 WWNC. The Sports Freaks doing the tournament preview of the Big South action this weekend. We will be back with you tomorrow at 3.
Wednesday at 3.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
High wind warnings up until midnight tonight. The higher elevations to the west of Asheville. It's been a blustery day today with south winds. Our temperatures in the upper 40s tonight with a few showers, breezy weather out there. Sunshine Tuesday, high 70 degrees, low 44. Mid-70s Wednesday to kick off the new month. Then rain showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the upper 60s. Kind of a stormy start to March. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. 26 westbound slowing, approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Haywood County, 40 westbound stop and go between NC 209 and US 276. Smoky Park Highway moving well. Hendersonville Road, no backup. Sweeten Creek Road, delays southbound between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new Crispy Melt Taco is now at Taco Bell. It's a freshly fried shell with a melty cheese blend and your choice of seasoned beef or black beans inside. Try it today at participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last.